about the possibility for a Marine invasion. So that's what you guys are here for. Great to have you here on Monday with me, talking about a Marine Corps invasion. The not only possibility, but I think we are really stumbling our way towards a no kidding ground war. Okay, so this is um, this is something that has been developing obviously over time. We are getting the forces in the area right now, and so we are going to analyze what is this Marine Corps invasion, this amphibious assault, amphibious landing going to look like? What are the targets for it? If you've been watching some of my other videos, you've seen I've covered pretty in depth about where I think this is going to go, where it's not going to go, what I think is a feint, what I think is actually, the actual targets versus the targets that are being said out in the press. And so, for example, I think Carg Island is actually a deception plan. I think this is strategic deception, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you because airstrikes and shaping fires don't lie. Okay, and we're going to talk about exactly where we're going to go, how it's going to be done. I'll talk about the probabilities too of a massive buildup of a Marine Expeditionary Force coming in there. Okay, and we're also going to talk about the strategy. What is the strategy? What's the current strategy right now? What kind of strategy do we see coming out of the administration? So we're going to discuss that in depth. I've had a lot of questions posed to me over the live streams, over chat, over message, and the questions go all the way from, I'll read you a few. Does the president have any advisors? Does he have a strategy? Is President Trump stupid? Does he have good advisors? Is he just trying to confuse our enemies and create uncertainty? All of these things are possible, and we're going to discuss all of them. Like I said, if my voice holds up. But we got a lot to talk about, okay? First of all, again, the agenda for tonight, Marine Corps invasion. We're going to talk about the United States Marine Corps conducting an amphibious assault, amphibious landings in Iran. We're going to talk also about the opposition. What kind of opposition can they expect at Keshem Island? Also, what kind of opposition can they expect at Bandar Abbas, at Labak? Again, Carg Island, I think, is a strategic deception. I mean, come on. We can't get any ships through the straits. Why are we going to fight our way through the straits in order to go attack Carg Island, and then we're going to let them have the straits again? So maybe if we take the straits first and then take Carg Island, why? Makes no sense. You have to own the straits in order to seize Carg Island. So that's just my going in premise. We're going to examine this. We're going to talk all about it. I got some cool maps for you guys tonight, as I always do. But before we go any further, I'm going to give out some shout outs right now to everybody. Great to have you guys here. And I'm going to have my opening poll. Lady Ann, what's going on? Lisa, how are you doing? Great to have you here. Mark, what's happening? Good to have you here. Thank you for everybody's support. We got the best chat in YouTube. Spread the word, everyone. David, what's going on, man? Good to have you. Who else we got here? La Diamond Dog, I believe you are here as well. I think I saw you. We got Devil Dog in here. Awesome. And Chosen, what's going on? B-San, man, what's up, man? Good to have you, brother. All right, everybody, we're going to open up. We're going to open up with a poll. We're going to open up with a quick poll, okay? Do you think we will seize? I'll say, what island do you think we'll seize? Will we seize first? And as I go through this, you can change your mind. Keshem, Labak, or Carg. Guys, this is, again, if you're new here, welcome. Please participate in the poll. Welcome to the greatest chat in YouTube. As many people have said when they come and they visit, they say what a cool chat this is, the smartest people in this chat, discussing high-level things, having high-level conversations. You can disagree, you can debate, but we're going to keep it all cool because we got our happy little Narnia in here. We're going to keep it that way. All right, let's rock and roll, everybody. I got a quick little video I'm going to play here to start out, as always. But let's get into some of the capabilities of the United States Marine Corps, especially a Marine Expeditionary Unit and just what it does. We talked about this a bit on Friday, but I'm going to get a little bit more in depth on it tonight. All right, here we go. Actually, this is a giant amphibious landing, okay? That's an exercise held, I believe, at Camp Pendleton. It's been held at Camp Pendleton. Gosh, I think it's an annual or every 2 or 3, probably not annual. I think every few years they do it like a capabilities exercise. I actually did one of these things, okay? This is called a Colonel Blitz exercise, usually. It's a massive capability exercise with demonstrating the power of a Marine Expeditionary Brigade. So if you can imagine, this isn't even the full force. The Marine Expeditionary Force is even bigger than this, all right? So you get a taste for what this looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and re-share this. Here we go. And make sure you guys can see this all right. There we go. Okay, let's rock and roll. So this was not that long ago. This just took place. Why do you think they did this? Do you think they knew something might be coming up? I guarantee it, okay? So what I want to talk about really fast, and let me know if you guys could see that okay. It seemed a little bit like it was lagging a little bit on my end, but let me know if you guys could see it all right. All right. Awesome, Flying Arrow. Great to have you here. So what I want to say, guys, is that we're showing the capabilities of the Marine Corps, but something I want you to notice is that one of the things the Marine Corps does is it gets combat power ashore really fast, okay? So what you're going to look to see in these places, and I'm going to share this really quick. We're going to look at some places like Karg Island. But looking at places like Karg Island and Bandar Abbas, okay, just what does that look like? Or actually, Keshem, I want to say. Keshem and Bandar Abbas. Here we go. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So in places like this, all right, everyone, this is a naval station at Bandar Abbas, okay? A lot of these ships are already destroyed right now because the U.S. Navy has been pounding the hell out of these with the Air Force and the Marine Air, Navy Air, Air Force Air, okay? And Tomahawks from the surface ships from our Navy, okay? So a lot of these are already smashed to hell. But we're going to go down. These are some more things in Bandar Abbas, a big, big naval base, okay? Notice this over here to the right. Interceptor boat with multiple launch rocket system, MLRS, okay? These are some of the things I want you to think about because when we do this amphibious landing, we're not going to get every single thing before we go in, okay? That's just how it is every time. You're not going to destroy every single thing before you get in there, all right? So some of the resistance we're going to see, interceptor boats with multiple launch rocket systems, Irish Shahid Raduk ship, okay? This is Bandar Abbas Naval Base. You can see right here, all right? And then you can see some more of the fast attack boats down there. Again, in Bandar Abbas Naval Base, patrol craft, fast attack craft. Look at how many there are stacked up. Now, they hide these things too. I showed you guys this before on Friday. They hide these in the radar clutter of the islands, okay? We're going to scroll down a little bit more. More fast attack craft right here. You can see patrol craft, fast attack craft. Some of these are drone boats too, and a lot of these have anti-ship missiles on them, all right? As we scroll down, again, think of the resistance that this Marine Corps force is going to meet on the water, that the Navy's going to meet on the water. We haven't even gotten ashore yet, okay? Probable missile frigate catamaran, under development at dry dock, more boats, more vehicles, okay? Fast interceptor boats. Look at how many are right there. Open source, okay? Open source satellite imagery, fast attack interceptor boats. Now, this whole area around the straits is loaded with places like this. Suggested IRGC drone base. Now we should be on Ketchum Island, okay? This is Ketchum Island. So on Ketchum Island, and again, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to show you guys Ketchum Island really fast so we can zoom in on it. So let's zoom in on Ketchum Island really fast. And guys, give me your questions in the chat, because I definitely want this to be highly interactive tonight. Throw whatever questions you guys have. I want to answer your questions. I know there's a lot going on with strategy, with the current strategy, a lot of questions about the current strategy, a lot of questions about what can the Marine Corps do, even the 82nd Airborne as well. What plans do they have for that, okay? Again, I will tell you just right up front, my bet is that we are not going to Karg Island. This is the Straits of Hormuz right here. This large island, all right, is Ketchum. This small island right here is Labak. So my guess is that we're going to have to seize one of these two. I would say if we seize Labak, you know, it's bigger than it looks, but Ketchum is loaded with drone bases, missile bases, underground missile city sites for the IRGC. This area in here that looks like a small bunch of islands, this is where the radar clutter is, where they hide tons of their fast attack drone boats, suicide boats, okay? They have all these little boats in these inlets here, hidden little cave areas and things. Because if we look, the coastal area of Ketchum, okay, the coastal area of Ketchum is cliff. Let's take a look at that. Let's get a little bit imagery here, okay? I'm going to pull this up. So let's see. So this is kind of like what we're looking at right here. Okay, we got a little bit of beach, but it immediately goes into rough terrain. Immediately goes right into rough terrain, okay? And you can see up here too, a little bit of beach, immediately into rough terrain, okay? So look to see the Marine Corps using its AAVs, amphibious assault vehicles, to get ashore, hovercrafts, establishing a beachhead, but then pushing in with helicopters as well too, in air assault, okay? Here's some more. This is the coastline right here, what the coastline looks like, okay? Coastline, I mean, I'm just saying, as we're talking all big and badass about this, about how we're going to open the straits and they're going to do it whether we say so or not, I know that, and I believe we will. I have no doubt the United States can do it. I have no doubt that the Marine Corps can do it tactically, the military objectives. But what I'm saying is that the cost will be high. Make no mistake about this, okay? Make no mistake. So that's what we're looking at. All right, and let's go back to our conflict tracker. And then we're going to go back in some Marine Corps capabilities, all right? So when we look here, let's zoom out for a minute. This is the Iran Monitor conflict map, okay? Let's zoom out. I'm on 2 days right now. The incidents you guys see right here in the map are what's happened in the past 2 days. So what do we see? Well, we see there have been 11 strikes down near the straits. And then there have been roughly 6 strikes in Tehran, 6 in Isfahan. Tehran is the center of gravity, obviously. Isfahan is a big nuclear site, IRGC area, okay? 11 strikes in Bandar Abbas. Let's zoom in on that. Let's check this out. So what's going on down in Bandar Abbas? Naval strike. Friday, small vessels on fire with an extensive smoke plume. Strikes, physical impact on the runway of Bandar Abbas, okay, Bandar Airport. Strikes, impacts visible on the runway of Bandar, another one. More strikes on the airport. More strikes. Okay, lots of strikes there. Damaged helicopter gunship at the airbase in Bandar Abbas. Let's zoom in a little bit more. So because what I want you guys to realize is that now Karg Island is up there. Just in case we're wondering, let's go from big to small. Karg Island is right around here. You only have 2 strikes there. Now make no mistake, okay? We do deception fires. It's a big military thing, right? Throughout history, we do deception fires. You don't want to let them know where you're coming, okay? You got to have secrecy, you've got to have surprise, all these things like that. And so we need to hit multiple areas so they don't know where we're coming. This is the goal, okay? And so if you look at this, deception plan is very important in your strategy, in your operational planning. But we want to look, only 2 strikes at Karg Island, okay? Around Karg, Karg's right here. But in the area of Karg, these are areas that could probably support Karg, okay? It's been hit before, but it hasn't been hit in the past 2 or 3 days. But what has been hit? Right down here. Bandar Abbas, lots of hits down here. You can see on the map, okay? These are reported from locals on the ground and other news sources, other sources on the ground, okay? So what we see here, strikes here on Keshem Island, okay? And we see strikes at Bandar Abbas. So it looks like we're doing some shaping operations, in my opinion. There is some shaping of this area, or it could be deception. But again, like I said, you got to go through the straits anyway. How are you going to go to Karg Island unless you're going to use the 82nd Airborne to jump in and seize it? You can't get to Karg Island except maybe Marine Corps helicopters. Marine Corps helicopters maybe could push up there. It's a heck of a flight, though. Okay? And you're only going to land a company. You're not going to land a battalion there. But right here, you could full out bring 2 MEUs in and dominate this, okay? You won't be able to hold Bandar Abbas for long, but you could get a beachhead with 2 MEUs, okay? Point here, point there. 2 MEUs can wreak some havoc, along with all the U.S. air support. 100% that could happen, okay? So, again, let's talk about, as I'm doing this, let's talk about what is critical. As we're talking about strategy, we're going to get into the strategy in a little bit. So if you're just joining us right now, please like, subscribe, and share, and comment. Welcome to the best chat in YouTube. Great to have you here. Okay, please participate in the poll. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Come on in. And I'm going to jump back in the chat here in a minute, everybody, to say what's up. But let's talk about some of the bigger questions. So the keys to this war, in my opinion, are 1, control the Strait of Hormuz. I know what they're saying. Their objectives are, honestly, it's nice. It's like, well, that's nice. Those are your objectives. No nukes for Iran. No nukes. Okay, got it. But really, at this point, your key is not no nukes for Iran. You just bomb the hell out of them. They're scrambling, right? You got to clean that up. Number 1 is control the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, it's a massive victory for Iran. And it's game-changing in international law. Nobody's going to stand for that. Their demands now are that they have total sovereign control of the straits. No country's going to settle for that, okay? So, number 2, no nukes for Iran. Okay, I think they've dismantled it pretty well. But I will tell you, historically, bombing doesn't historically work for the long term to end a nuclear weapons program, okay? Or other scientific programs. Why? Because the knowledge is here. The knowledge is in your head. The knowledge to build these things is up in their heads. You can't exactly get rid of it, okay? So again, you got yourself into a pickle here. And the rock and a hard place dilemma that we find ourselves, we're on the horns of a dilemma because we don't want to go on ground troops. We want to say we won, and we want to leave. But Iran then says, basically, yeah, we control the straits. And they really do. It's not even a joke. They really do. We didn't get rid of all their ability to attack ships. We didn't do that, okay? So this is going to be a long campaign of reducing their capabilities to attack ships and control the straits. Now, will we invade April 6th? This is the big question. Why you guys are here. I will say this. We have the capability to do helicopter raids, limited scale amphibious raids. We have the ability to strike them, hurt them, conduct reconnaissance, precision direct action raids, special operations raids. We have the ability to continue to do air raids, but actually to force open the straits and hold them open, I believe we're going to have to clear out all the mines. We're going to have to reduce drastically their anti-ship missiles, their suicide fast attack craft, their drones, their drone bases before we can do that. And we're going to have to amass probably, 5 times as much ground combat power to go ashore. Like I said before in my video, watch my video, guys, if you haven't seen it yet. But we're probably going to have to amass the first Marine Expeditionary Force to force open Keshem Island and to force open Bandar Abbas, effectively ending their little freaking party of controlling the Straits of Hormuz, okay? Spoken like a true Marine. And no, I don't want this to happen. I wish it would just go away, but it's probably not going to, okay? Let's put on our big boy vision here, big girl vision, and realize that this is what we're in, all right, unfortunately. So, number one, we got to control the Straits of Hormuz. Can it be done diplomatically? Possibly. Possibly still. Possibly could. A coalition of countries can come together and help out for this. Number three, no ballistic missile threat to the region from Iran. I think they're doing that pretty well. They're reducing it a lot, but it's still not over yet. Still not done. Why? I'm going to show you guys why in 1 second, okay? Actually, I'll show you why right now. And number four, regime change is an implied task. And now it's mission creep. Regime change is mission creep, actually. Okay? We've been creeping into this mission of regime change. And the regime change, was something that just kept coming up and up and up, unconditional surrender, all these things like that. All right. So I'm going to show you guys a little video here. I'm going to show you what actually, I'm going to show you guys actually what this looks like in some of their little underground facilities in Keshem Island and in these different areas, okay? Let's take a look. They released this not long ago, a couple weeks ago. And here we go. Let's see. So this is what they would be up against in a ground war, okay? And I say up against clearing the tunnels, yes, but knowing that things are hidden deep under granite mountains, okay? Not easy to penetrate, even with the most sophisticated bunker busters, okay? So let's take a look. Now, I fully well know this is a propaganda video designed to make you think, wow, they have so much. I know that, okay? But I don't think it's fake, okay? I think they do have things like this. Now, have we crushed a lot of these places? I'd say some. I don't know. We don't know. I can say I think so, but we don't know, okay? How do you find out? Well, intelligence, human source intelligence on the ground, and getting people on the ground who can actually see it, right? Unfortunately. Because what you don't want to do is you get in close, get ready to do amphibious assault, and all of a sudden we get a 300 drone swarm comes out, and it cracks open one of our destroyers, cracks open a LHA helicopter landing ship, amphibious shipping with all the Marines on it, or it just starts picking off the Marine Corps' AAVs as they're coming in ashore, okay? Or the suicide boats attack and wipe out a company Marines. Like I said, war gaming, gaming situations and scenarios have been run saying that we would lose 1,500 Marines in the first, 1,500 personnel, Navy and Marine Corps in the first 48 to 72 hours. Now, I want to say this, okay? I know it sounds scary. I know that. But I'm going to tell you something, okay? In not just the march up to Baghdad, in Desert Storm, Saddam Hussein said this will be the mother of all battles. And they told us, okay, in the Marine Corps, I was not in Desert Storm at that time, all right, but I came into the military shortly thereafter, and I was at the U.S. Naval Academy, heard all the war stories. The estimates were 70% U.S. casualties, okay? 70%, because we had not accounted for unknown technological advances that we had in weaponeering, targeting, missile delivery, precision strikes, all those things. So the estimation was in a straight-on fight, conventional, head-to-head, 70% U.S. casualties. So I don't know if we have something up our sleeves that we haven't revealed yet. It is possible. It's completely possible. But for right now, given what they've seen capability-wise and given what Iran's defenses look like, and this isn't Iraq where you have an open field to fire, right? You're dealing with undersea, underwater, cliff type terrain that negates our more long range precision strike things. FPV drones is a whole other ball game, right? Drone warfare period is a whole other ball game. And again, the actual real sophisticated U.S. drones that can loiter and target and strike, that's another ball game. Okay, so we shall see, but hopefully we won't see. Let me say that. Hopefully we won't see, but I'm just saying that it is possible that these numbers are way off or not. Okay, so let's watch this. All right. And I want to say this as well, okay? I want to say this, everybody, that one of the things I just recently heard, I saw a report on this, okay, because I'm pretty much obsessed with all this, is like what all I do, honestly. I got out of the Marine Corps and I was like, I'm never looking at this stuff ever again. Here I am. Good Lord. There's a reason why I stayed in for 23 years. Anyway, so, but I can use what I know to serve you guys and hopefully make it a clearer picture. And again, we're talking about strategy. And again, if you guys don't know what I do, I'm Ben Pappas, retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel. I've got had 23 years active duty as a commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. I commanded at every level: platoon level, company level, raid force level, and battalion level. Okay, I commanded also in MARSOC, U.S. Special Operations Command. Was a Force Recon Direct Action Platoon Commander. Was a U.S. diplomat. All kinds of things. Okay, also an infantry officer as well too. For my infantry guys out there, I'm well grounded in the fundamentals of infantry tactics and strategy and operational excellence, all that stuff. So what I want to say though is this, okay, that, I think with this whole scenario, we have to consider the capabilities and limitations of the Iranians. We have to consider the capabilities and limitations of the U.S. Okay, U.S. military. It's formidable. It is the most fierce fighting machine ever in the history of the world. But okay, when the political goals don't match or don't support military victory, you have a lot of problems, okay? A la Vietnam, a la Afghanistan, a la Iraq, a la all kinds of things, okay? Where, like the movie A Bridge Too Far, okay? So when we don't make the military, the political goals supportable by the military victories, because the U.S. military doesn't lose battles, right? It just doesn't. It's just, but war has a lot to do with political support, popular support, political victories, things like that. Okay, what did you want? And if you don't have a clear vision of what you want, what are you trying to get out of this? Okay, you can find yourself in an extremely costly war, just bleeding you out, blood, treasure. This is how empires have fallen throughout history. Okay, endless wars and things that don't lead to growth for the company or for the country. They don't lead to growth for the country. They might lead to growth for a lot of companies, that's for sure, but not growth for the country. Okay, and so why I give you my background too, because what I do is I'm an executive leadership and life coach. I do consulting and coaching for executives, founders, owners, and then I also do life coaching as well too. And all of it, what I've found is that whether I'm coaching an individual high performer, okay, an individual or a company or a team, is that these different levels of strategy, okay, all must be supported by energy. And the energy in this case at the national level is really the popular support, okay? It's the animus, the spirit, the values of the people, okay? What do the people want? What do they vote for? What are they going to support? Okay, and so this nesting and this connection in battle, business, and life, whether it's, a business strategy, a military strategy, a personal strategy for you to achieve more, okay? This is all in my this is all in my, my main wheelhouse of what I do. Okay. And so as you look to see what can you take away from this, take a look at what your assumptions are in life. Like when you're working on something, okay, and I'll get right back to this too about the Marine Corps invasion, amphibious assault, for all those of you who are just joining us right now. But the connection to why this matters to you is that what lessons can you draw from this scenario and from history, okay, on the side, personally, from your assumptions you're making about what you're doing right now. One of the assumptions I think we made, an erroneous assumption, a flawed assumption. In strategy, we always want to test our assumptions. You want to write out, what are your assumptions? What do you hold to be true? Really fully true. And then test it. Then what do you hold to be 50% true? Like, I think this is true. It's 50-50. One of the things I think that the administration had, okay, and President Trump has a lot of advisors, a lot of smart people around him telling him things, okay? And he's not a dumb man, okay, obviously. And so he might make some decisions that we think are dumb, but I'm saying that he's got a whole team of people with all the information, all this stuff like that. They knew the Straits of Hormuz would be a problem. But here's what I think. Based upon what we're seeing, the assumption was this. The assumption was the regime will fall. They're going to bomb the hell out of them for 5 days. I think we were drunk with power, drunk with ego. We were megalomania going on about the Maduro raid. Like, wow, we popped off and grabbed him. And then just like a school kid bragging, talking trash, we went and said, we're going to take Greenland. It was nuts. Okay. Fully nuts. That tells me the assumptions were flawed. Yeah, we did that, boss. We can cakewalk all over Iran. Let's go. Let's smash them. Let's go. And then, our good buddies Israel were over there like, oh, yeah, you guys can do it. Watch this. Woo. And they went in and we followed them right in. Okay. And so I think the flawed assumption, untested, erroneous assumption was that the regime would fall. Okay. So I ask you, in your life, making the connection to your personal life or to your business, to your team, where do you have a critical assumption that if you're wrong could destroy everything? Test this assumption. Make sure that you understand if you pull this one Jenga piece out, okay, this assumption for this whole campaign, this is the Jenga piece that makes the whole tower fall, right? This Jenga piece was the regime will fall after a week, 2, surely after 5 weeks. Yeah, hell yeah, let's go, boss. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, go, launch them. And we'll give a big speech and we'll keep on talking about all this stuff. But that Jenga piece comes out and the tower falls, right? That is the critical assumption. So where I think we went wrong, what's going on is that the critical assumption of the regime falling, collapsing, was wrong, was flawed, okay? Because think about this. If the assumption was the regime is going to fight until it absolutely dies, and they're going to have to be dug out with bayonets, flamethrowers, dug out tooth and nail, and we're never going to get the enriched uranium unless we dig them out. Do you think we would do this? We've been more cautious, okay? Put in the chat what you guys think about that. I want to see what you guys think. I'm going to jump in here. All right, but that's where I think we're at, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and jump in the chat and read a couple things. But while I do that, I'm going to play a little more of this video for everyone on my beloved Marine Corps, okay? Just how it is. Got to do it. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this. And I'm going to read a couple in the chat.
3 more.
So if you guys can imagine an Iranian drone swarm coming out just as we launch our AAVs to shore, you're going to lose a company of Marines, right? 100 Marines killed. Think of how that headline would go at home. Not just think about the headline, obviously. Think about the families and the people, the loss of life. The highly trained, valuable assets were sinking to the bottom of the ocean, okay? or helicopters getting shot down because they launch up. We didn't know they had 50 or 70 drones left. Oh, and they launched out of the mountains where our fighters couldn't get to them, and they went right into our helicopters. We lose a company of Marines, right? So I'm saying we got to do a lot more shaping before we do anything like this. And I think we have to build up more combat power in the area before we go ashore. Again, amphibious raids, amphibious precision raids, amphibious raids, air raids, things like that, all can happen. But as far as a major assault right now on the 6th of April, as I said in the thumbnail, I think we'll look to see some, some quick strikes, raids, things like that, destruction, possibly gaining a beachhead somewhere. But I don't think a full forced seizure. All right, we got some more people in the chat. What's going on? Nick, what's happening, man? Good to have you. Joe Saunders, Yippee-ki-yay, good to have you, brother. Frosty, what's going on, man? You know exactly what I'm talking about with all this. 0311, Semper Fi. The Diamond Dog, what's going on, man? Nick, Jasmine, what's going on, Jasmine? Good to have you. Awesome. All right. Flying Arrow, Heather King, what's going on, Heather? First VR Rifleman, what's up, man? Hey, thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you saying that. Colonel Paps, his career is beyond impressive. Thank you so much. Appreciate you saying that, man. Thank you. I owe it all to my guys, that's for sure. They were amazing. I was very fortunate to serve with some amazing people, very lucky for what I got to do and who I got to do it with. B. Sandman, let's see here. Awesome. And you're right about that, First War Rifleman, that the operation against Maduro went too well. Yep. And we performed really well. Post World War II, our strategy and grand strategy, another story. 100%, man. Spot on. Let's see here. Who else is in here? Juan Wick, what's up, man? Good to have you, brother. The legendary AAVs are in effect again. Juan Wick, I was just talking about, what if a drone came and struck that AAV while it was swimming ashore for amphibious landing? Scary stuff, man, So, scary stuff. Let me see here. Awesome, Jasmine. Great to have you back. All right, guys. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you saying that. Thank you. First War Rifleman, thank you. That's awesome. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's get into this a little bit more here, okay? Put your questions in the chat, whatever questions you have, okay? Because I really want to make sure I'm able to serve you guys tonight and able to provide as much info I can about what questions you have, with regard to, will we do it? Are we going to do it? Who will do it? Will this end? How would it end? Anything you have, okay? Throw it in there, and I'll try to address it for you, answer tonight, okay? Let me see. I see that. Okay, you want a bit of a hiatus, but you're back. Hey, awesome. Great to have you here. Is that right? Did I do that one week when I was? Yeah, that's right. I can remember. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah, you're right about that, right? You don't even know what's happening. That's a great point, Frosty. I didn't thought about that, honestly. I remember I don't even think we wore hearing protection back in the day. And then all of a sudden it was like someone told me, yeah, you lose your hearing in an AAV if you're in there too long. And so I took that pretty seriously. I remember looking in the back, seeing some guys in the platoon, and Juan Wick, you'll remember this, I'd be like, make sure you put your ear protection in. And I'd look over, and it would be like McBradford or somebody would put their friggin' a cigarette in their ear, or who Pemberton or someone like that, put a cigarette butt in their ear. I was like, all right, well, good enough. Okay. All right, let's keep on going. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Watch a little bit more of this one, and then we're going to get into some more of what it would look like, what we're up against. So guys, they'll be doing this and coming ashore in these AAVs, usually like a company. Here's how it would work, okay? So I'm gonna narrate this while it goes. A company of Marines, about 150, are coming ashore in the AAVs, okay? You got a company of Marines then are flying in helicopters, going, beyond to envelop the enemy, vertical envelopment behind their strong point, okay? And then you got another company of Marines that's coming in by small boats. That may have changed. The small boats may have changed to something else, but they have several different ways they bring them in, okay? Usually the boat raid can occur at night. In the meantime, before that happens, you have Force Recon usually doing a free fall jump in or a helicopter landing, direct action missions. Force Recon, along with the Maritime Special Purpose Force, called the Maritime Raid Force now today, would also go ashore and conduct strikes, precision strikes of high-value targets, sabotage, demolition, all that stuff like that, okay? And so I'm giving you guys your VIP tour here right now of what this looks like. That's a light armored vehicle. Those things, I'm going to tell you right now, these things are amazing. The LAVs are freaking amazing, okay? These go about 65 miles an hour, and they have a 25 millimeter Bushmaster cannon that in Iraq would just destroy the hell out of things. They have amazing, what do you call it, thermal imaging optics that can zoom in so far. They can go thermal, they can go regular, and they can, this is a 25 millimeter chain gun sniper. It's a stabilized gun. The bullet's like freaking this big. The round's like, you know, like this thick and 25 millimeter like that. And you can imagine they can fire incendiary rounds, explosive rounds. If you got a sniper up in a window taking pot shots at you, they'll zoom in. They'll see this guy on his scope and just pook, one round, okay? I kid you not. It's unbelievable. And they go, look to see these. If we seize Bandar Abbas, okay, let's look at Bandar Abbas. If we seize Bandar Abbas, you're going to look to see, okay, those LAVs that we just looked at, you're going to look to see them push up Highway 7. Okay, this is all super steep terrain, and I wish I had a topographic map here. Let me see if I can find one. But this, if we seize Bandar Abbas a foothold, you're going to put a company of these LAVs on the march. They'll be up here, okay? They lead the way even for the tanks and everything. They have scouts that come out the back of them. They've got tow missile. They call it a Hammerhead LAV. Fires tow missiles out of it. Now it's javelins, okay? So they have unbelievable missile capability. They have Stinger missiles. So if drones come to attack them, they have a Stinger missile variant of the LAV. They can just pop this thing up. It's sick. It pops up, and all of a sudden, you know, drones can be coming. They'll fire off, 8 Stingers. Drones are gone. They have a chain gun version, too, a Gatling gun that can smoke targets as well. I mean, it's an amazing capability, but those guys could push in hundreds of miles and just whack targets and clear the way for a larger infantry push, okay? And usually, my opinion is the Marine Corps will gain a foothold until Big Army comes in, right? And if Big Army gets ashore with its logistics, its gas, its tanks, its Apaches, it's over. It's freaking over. Now, I don't think we're going to go to Tehran. I said it before. Watch my videos, guys, okay? I'm just giving you capabilities. I don't think we're going to go to Tehran. I think what we're going to do is, if we do this, again, okay? If we do it. If we were to do this, I believe it would be to control the Straits of Hormuz and then allow the U.S. Special Operations Forces, Green Berets, Raiders, SEALs to go in, conducting strikes, raids, all that, yes, okay? But actually to help man, train, equip an insurgent force that would be the thing to overthrow the regime, okay? And we keep supporting with airstrikes, limited raids, ground raids, infantry raids, things like that, striking troop masses of troops for the IRGC to support that, okay? Let's zoom out a little bit from here. And again, you see Karg is over here, but I would look to see the U.S. Army building up combat power in Iraq and Kuwait, and then crossing here to seize Khuzestan oil fields, which is up here, okay, the northern part of the Persian Gulf. You guys can see my mouse cursor. U.S. Army will seize Khuzestan oil fields. They better make me like the National Security Advisor or some crap after this, or Secretary of War or something, right? You guys put a 1 in the chat if you think I should be the National Security Advisor. Then that'd be good. I don't want the job. I'm just kidding. I don't want the job. I'm very happy right here with you guys doing this. But U.S. Army seizing Khuzestan oil fields. U.S. Marine Corps gains a foothold, Bandar Abbas, okay, seizes the Straits of Hormuz with the U.S. Navy. U.S. Navy really with the U.S. Marine Corps as well, okay, seizing this. Now, we don't need to push to Tehran. You've effectively crippled the country at this point. Khuzestan oil fields, okay, cuts off the lifeblood for Karg Island, for all this stuff. No ships can get through. We own Straits of Hormuz. Why do we need to fight a 1 million person army that's in the mountains going, wait for you to come. We're waiting for you to come. Americans are going to kill you. Why? Stupid. Okay. Seize the straits. That'll be nuts. Somehow let the generals handle this and all the current active duty guys, right? I haven't looked at all the single details, but I'm sure there's some strong point things they could do. Seize Khuzestan oil fields, support a U.S. Special Forces campaign to man, train, equip an insurgent force that the Kurds will also help and partner with to go and to fight the current regime, so we don't have to go in there with U.S. boots on the ground and topple the regime, okay? Yes, it will be costly. Bandar Abbas will be costly. Keshem will be costly. All those things, okay? What I'm telling you is what I think we might have to do if we don't reach a negotiated settlement, okay? And again, like I told you, there are technologies out there, ways and means that I don't know about that we might have. We may be like, haha, but you didn't know about this. Haha, Elon Musk might come out with a freaking robot army, okay? And I was kidding around in one live when I said that, but not really, okay? In Ukraine right now, they're fighting with robot dogs, robot humanoids are being deployed in Ukraine, okay? If Elon Musk whips out a bunch of a robot army here, that could be a game changer. Now, it won't be so good, I don't think, for overall for Bandar Abbas. But anyway, giving you guys what I think is going to happen. I don't think it'll be April 6th. I think we look to see amphibious raids, airstrikes, naval gun raids, naval strike raids, things like that. Even U.S. Marines going ashore for a strike quickly to reduce a facility or to seize something, a critical facility. But I think we're going to build up a massive amount of combat power, because if it doesn't work by then, you're going to look to see the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, which is what we're watching right here. Okay, let's keep watching this. You're going to look to see them getting built up in an Iron Mountain all around the region, okay, or deployed to amphibious shipping, okay? So, but if you start seeing more than the 82nd Airborne coming in, like you start seeing like tanks flying in, Bradleys, like heavy armor getting into Iraq, getting into Kuwait, okay, getting into the region, that means they're going to do a barnstorm. They're going to storm across the Khuzestan oil fields. They could march up through the nasty Zagros Mountains to Tehran, but why? You don't need to. If you got the oil fields and you got the straits, you don't need to take Tehran, okay? The people will eat them alive because they're just going to lose power. It's like a siege, basically, more or less. All right, let's keep watching a little bit more here. They're those badass LAVs. That's what I'm talking about. Fly right up that Route 7. They wreaked havoc everywhere they're in. They really blast the hell out of people. Very fast, very hard to fight against. So I want you guys to get like a bird's eye view. Actually, not bird's eye, a ground view of what it would be like for the Marines to come in. Okay, and here's the hovercrafts now coming up. Landing craft air cushions, a hovercraft. Now, I will tell you, check this out. Some people might ask, well, can these hovercraft go ashore? The ground is too rocky. I'm going to show you in a second. First of all, Frosty, thanks so much, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. That means a lot, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, we had a great platoon. Honestly, I feel lucky we didn't have to, we didn't have to do some, we didn't have to go and lose anybody, anything crazy, in our platoon for that time, and nothing crazy happened. But tell you what, we had probably one of the best infantry platoons I've ever seen. That was awesome. You guys were amazing. Like I said, everybody else, when people said, I did a good job and all that stuff, I had amazing people. I can remember the first time I stepped up to range 400 with these guys. Some of these guys are in the chat now. And I came over, and this is the hardest range you can do in the Marine Corps. And you're getting graded on it. And I was there for like a day, 2 days, 3 days. And I asked the guys, I said, well, like, okay, what's the plan? I said, well, what do you guys think we should do? You've all done it 10 times. And they all smiled. They're like, go this way. This is how we're going to do it. I said, can you guys run rehearsals? And they said, yeah. So these guys in the chat right now, everybody, so you know that. Badass dudes, badass U.S. Marines. And a smart leader asks questions and listens to those who know, okay? Because when you're in charge and you're in command or you're in charge, you got to use what's available. I had all this knowledge, all this experience. These guys all had deployments already. And I was young and new. And I said, okay, well, how would we do it? How would you guys think so? And we did it. We like scored the top in this range. They're like, whoa, it was so perfect. I was like, I didn't do anything. I just ran along. I ran along there and, fired some rounds, stuff like that. But these guys were awesome. And I remember that was a heavy duty run in there, Wanwick. I do remember that though. That was a smoke check time for sure. Range 410 Alpha, range 400. That was awesome. All right, guys. So let's check this out though. So these landing craft air cushions. Let's check this out. LCAC hovercraft. Okay. Check this out. I got a little something for you guys. I want to show you. So can they get ashore? Oh, I'm going to show you this. Some people will say no, but I'm going to say yes. And here's why. Check this out. Okay. This is Ketchum Island, IRGC drone base, Ketchum Island. Look at that beach. Hell yeah, they can get ashore. Look at this beach. Hell yeah, they can get ashore. Okay. IRGC drone base, Ketchum Island, the big, huge island. Okay. Look at all the facilities here, the drone bases. Look at this stuff. Synthetic aperture radar view of Ketchum Island. Probable battery site. Look at how reinforced this whole thing is, okay? But there are roads and there's flat beach. So what I want to show you, though, some more. Aha! This is at Bandar Abbas. And what is it? Joint Army-Navy Hovercraft Air Base. Bandar Abbas West. Okay? If you look in my video, go to my last video, just scan through till you find the map, okay? Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hype it. That would be awesome. But if you don't, or if you want to, just go in there and find the map that shows Bandar Abbas. Not Ketchum Island, but Bandar Abbas. And you'll see I have this generated, okay? I put in a prompt into AI with all this information, tactical information like what you have here, pictures, things like that. And I had it generate a graphic of what it would look like, okay? So you're going to see, no kidding, a real tactical military map of Bandar Abbas. And the flat area off to the west of Bandar Abbas is where the hovercrafts are. These are Iranian hovercrafts right here, okay? Iranian hovercrafts. And so why is that key? Well, if they can use them, we can use them. So we know we have a place we can land our hovercrafts. Those things go 50 miles an hour in the water. They come ashore. Each of these can put an M1 Abram tanks ashore. These can so if you have 6 or 8 hovercrafts, you can put 6 or 8 tanks ashore. An M1 Abrams tank is like, I'm just saying, it's like a little battle fortress, okay? They can also put 25 infantry ashore, all right? So you can put 150 guys ashore, M1 Abrams tanks. You can put 2 LEVs ashore per. So, those hovercrafts, when they get ashore, and they're going to have heavy fire suppression, fires coming down from the naval aircraft, from naval guns, Tomahawks, Marine air wing, all the stuff like that. They get ashore. They dump out 200 Marines, 150 Marines, LAVs, tanks. I don't think we have tanks anymore in the MU, but LAVs, it's over, man. They're going to seize that area fast. Okay? So that's why I'm showing you guys the LAVs. That's why I'm showing you the LAVs are light armored vehicles with the wheels. The LCACs are landing craft air cushion. They're the hovercrafts. But if they have a place for hovercrafts, that means we have a place for hovercrafts, okay? So this is the western part of Bandar Abbas. Here it is, some more hovercrafts. They have a pretty big hovercraft area. That means the beach is flat enough for them to employ hovercrafts, which means we can employ hovercrafts, okay? All right, let's keep watching some more of this and understand our capabilities. There's the hovercraft. So if you can imagine these things bringing light armored vehicles, tanks, infantry, artillery, howitzers ashore, okay? And I've been on these things. I've actually gone on these. I've gone well duck operations, flown because you're flying. You fly in the back of the ship, you pick up stuff, they put it on, they fly back out. They can do this a couple times a day, okay? Flying 50 miles an hour, no one's gonna hit them, right? The drones can try, but we're gonna have aircraft up and all that stuff. Now, what will be a concern, obviously, are the suicide boats. If they have swarms of suicide boats, that will be a concern for these. These are light-skinned vehicles for sure, okay? So we'd have to have some type of clearing operation ahead of time to make sure that, the suicide boats can't swarm them. All right, that is definitely a concern if anybody's wondering about that. And not to get overly pumped up about this. They're amazing, but if it gets hit by a suicide boat, that thing is going to go dead in the water, right? Okay, because you're going to deflate and it's going to sit. Will it sink it? I don't know, but it definitely would do some damage to it. And again, why I say that if we do a landing here, okay, we're going to look, again, the game theory, the game scenarios say 1,500 Marines and sailors dead in the first 48 to 72 hours, okay? If we do a full seizure of Bandar Abbas, a full seizure of Keshem Island, okay? That means fighting inland, a destruction mission, not just seizing a toehold or a beachhead, okay? That could look different for sure. But clearing Bandar Abbas would be significant casualties. Watch a little bit more of this. Again, that's the hovercraft, landing craft, air cushion for anybody who's just joining us right now. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and comment. Get your friends here and tell them. We're putting on a class about the Marine Expeditionary Unit, Marine Expeditionary Force, and amphibious assault operations and what it's like. And after this, we're going to also talk about the strategy, go deep into the strategy, and see what the latest craziness coming out of Truth Social is. If you guys didn't see it this morning, there's a lot there. Okay, so they're coming ashore. That's what it looks like when they come ashore. And they're going to let off their Marines and their gear. This is Camp Pendleton, California, Southern California. I was stationed there for a while. Here they come. We're going to let everybody off, and then everybody that's on there is going to get off and come ashore. These things are wild. And again, if they have a base where they have hovercrafts, then ours could operate. There's a reason they have them, because they work in the area, okay? It should be. Yep, there it is. The ramp's down. You guys can see there the ramp is down. They're going to start. There it is. 3 LAVs. 3, not 2. I was wrong. Can you imagine 3 light armored vehicles? These guys could put a company of light armored vehicles ashore. That's a game changer. That is a freaking game changer. I'm just telling you, okay? So let's watch as this thing comes off. Here comes some logistic trucks. Huge. You can't fight a war without logistics trucks, okay? That might be a missile truck, actually. I don't know what the hell that is. Marine Corps' got new gear all the time. Some Humvees, up armor Humvees, command vehicles. That's a missile truck for sure. That's some kind of Stinger truck or something like that. Okay, so I think you guys get the picture with the LAVs. But if you can look here, okay? So everything's ashore. Look at everything that comes off of these. Hold on, look at everything that came off of these. This is what came off it. Missile trucks, LAVs, infantry, command, nodes. Okay, they're pushing ashore. Now here comes the air power. Ospreys carrying Marines, infantry. Sea Stallions carrying infantry. H-1 Whiskey Cobras flying in the attack. Okay, for air support. You've got a Joint Strike Fighter up there as well. F-18 Super Hornets, all kinds of stuff, okay? I mean, it's a really capable force. A very capable force. And everybody who's seen the Marine Corps work will say it's like a miniature little armed forces all to their own, okay? It's like a little miniature military. Got air wing, naval forces, ground combat power, all this stuff, all right? All right, guys, I'm going to jump in the chat here. I know I've been doing this for a while. Let's get in here in the chat, answer any questions you guys have. Guys, give me a 1 in the chat if that's useful for you, if that's helpful, seeing this. Give me a 1 in the chat if that's helpful to actually see what the Marine amphibious units do. The Marine Expeditionary Unit, a MEU, or it's called a MEU, not an MEU, Marine Expeditionary Unit. And then there's a Marine Expeditionary Brigade that's bigger, Marine Expeditionary Force, the MEF, that's the biggest one, which is what I think we'll need if we're going to seize Bandar Abbas, honestly. Okay. All right, let's see here. Give me a 1 in the chat if that was useful for you, if that was helpful to understand what the heck's going on with all this stuff. Awesome. Appreciate Stone Cold, Stoned Actual. Thanks, Joe Saunders. Mark, gotcha. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks to Diamond Dog. Thanks, Jasmine. Okay, let's see where we're at with our chat. I'm Machine. Awesome. Welcome. Good to have you here. Lady Ann, thank you. Heather King. Awesome. First War Rifleman. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. What island will we seize first? 43% Keshem, 70% Labak, 40% Karg. Awesome. Feral Wildflowers. Welcome. Good to have you here. Flying Arrow. Thank you. Frosty. Thank you. Cool. All right. We're all tracking. Let's rock and roll. Okay. So we're looking at some of the capabilities of the Marine Corps, and we're seeing some of the, got another video of the Marines shooting. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about what we're up against, okay? Again, if you're just joining us right now, we are talking about the likelihood of a Marine amphibious assault, a Marine invasion on April 6th. And then if we do ground action with the Marine Corps, what will it be like? And I'll tell you right now, what the conclusion I'm reaching is that we will do limited raids April 6th. And then as long as the Marines are on station, okay? 2 MEUs, they can do raids, precision strikes, amphibious feints, amphibious deception. They can do all kinds of things. They can do an amphibious, like I said, a raid, amphibious assault, but they can do a quick withdrawal as well too. I don't think we look to see a major seizure of an island until probably around June. Okay, why do I say that? Well, it takes like 90 to 120 days just to get 90 to 120 days in order to get the Marine Expeditionary Force on station. Okay, it's going to take a long time to get them in place. So you're going to look to see them reducing the mines in the Straits of Hormuz, reducing the missiles, reducing the drones, the suicide boats, really a concerted effort to shape that area before they go in. Again, one of the most important things, period, okay, in your success, personal success, again, okay, if you know what I do, okay, I'm an executive leadership and life coach. I help people, founders, owners, and people to make breakthroughs in their business and their life, okay? But one of the most important things is setting the conditions for success for yourself. How do you set the conditions for success, right? Well, on a personal level, you get your energy up, you define your plan, what are your goals, okay, what are your objectives? What skills do you have? What new skills do you need to learn? Okay. What networking, what friends do you need to make? President Trump, I think, forgot about that one. What friends do you need for this? Okay. The only friend we brought was Israel. We probably need to build the coalition ahead of time, honestly, instead of building it in reverse, building it now. So all these things in national military strategy, business strategy, and personal strategy. Okay. Test our assumptions. What are our assumptions? Are they good? Have you tested them? Okay. Have you war gamed them? Have you tried to have a red cell to poke holes in your assumptions, in your plan? Right? Very important. What ways do you plan on accomplishing your goals? What means do you have? Okay. What resources are the means in order to do this? Okay. If you don't have them, you better get them. This is all setting the conditions for success. Okay. So one of the things they need to do in the Straits of Hormuz is set the conditions for success before you do any type of amphibious assault, amphibious raid. So right now with 2 MEUs going there, the MEUs are very flexible, agile, hostile, all that stuff. They can get in, they can get out, they can do a quick strike, okay? Helicopter raid, precision raid with the Maritime Raid Force, Force Recon, right? Obviously, they can be a base, they can be a floating base quick reaction force for special operations, okay? Marine Raiders can come on board. Green Berets can come on board. Navy SEALs can come on board. Tier 1 assets, okay? Tier 1 assets like Operational Detachment Delta, the National Mission Force can come on board, right? National Mission Force, from whether it's the SEAL version or the Army version, can come on board, and they can conduct strikes as well too. So it's a floating base. It's a floating sea base to do all kinds of stuff. Marine Corps, you can pay me for the big propaganda I'm promoting right now, the floating sea basing concept. I know right now there are a lot of Marines out there getting excited, but sea basing concept is for real. And so just by bringing the Marine Corps there, the naval shipping, the ARGMU, you have conditions that are set up for success, right? You have all these assets and resources set up and optionality set to do different things. It's a bigger threat now, okay? They can come ashore. Now, the threat of a massive invasion comes if you see, 2 more MEUs coming. Let's say you see, an invasion force of the Marine Corps building up on a whole bunch of other ships, like 40 more ships come in, okay? Then you're going to think, okay, this is going to be like an Iwo Jima style landing, all right? Which is quite possible. It's possible and it's doable, all those things. But the Marines could go ashore too and join up with the Army for the big push up north to the northern part of the Persian Gulf through Khuzestan oil fields, like I said before, okay? So in case you're just joining us now, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and hype the video, and comment after I posted, or comment now, however you want to do it. Awesome. I'd appreciate all your support. Thank you. So let's keep on going here. And let's talk about now, what are we up against? So why haven't they capitulated? Why haven't they quit? Well, part of this is because they have something called a mosaic defense, okay, where they knew at some point they're going to get into a war with us. They just knew it. Or they thought that there's a high degree of probability, and if they did, they're probably going to lose militarily. They're going to get decapitated. They're going to be disrupted and broken up. And so the best way to do this is to have an unconventional hierarchy, okay, where there are multiple nodes. And if you're still alive and you still have several of you around, whoever the senior person is takes charge and moves out. That's kind of how the Marine Corps does things too, okay? Let's take a look at this. Here we go. Put your questions in the chat, as always, everyone.
Iran does not rely on a single military chain of command. Its security system is layered, duplicated, and intentional. At the top sits the supreme leader, the commander-in-chief of all armed forces. Below that authority are 2 parallel militaries. The Artesh, Iran's regular army, is responsible for territorial defense, borders, airspace, and conventional warfare. Alongside it, there's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, known.
Hey, so this is really important, everyone, okay? So there are 2 different parts to the Iranian military. The Iran regular army, the Artesh, and then the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, okay? So understand this. No one has quit yet. Why? Probably because the IRGC is threatening to kill everybody if they quit, okay? So, but possibly, and that's me being cynical, but the other part of it is they're okay. And if they quit, they die because the people will turn on them 100% if they give up their power, okay? So either die by the U.S., die by Trump, by the U.S., or die by their own people, okay? What is the better chance? The better chance for them is to wait it out, go to ground, and survive the airstrikes and bombing. And if we come ashore, fight like hell to survive, because they're surely going to die. If they surrender and give up power, whatever that is, they know eventually they're going to be discovered, especially after the massacres that took place around New Year's, where they killed 20 or 30,000 of their own people, okay, in the protests. Anyone associated with the security forces is just an enemy of the people, basically, okay, for the most part. Now, let's keep watching.
As the IRGC, and its role goes beyond defense. Given its ideological structure, it's responsible for protecting the revolution politically and militarily. Within the IRGC, the Aerospace Force controls Iran's missile and drone arsenal. This forms the backbone of Iran's deterrence strategy against Israel and the United States. Iran avoids merging these forces by design. Duplication here is a safeguard against coups, internal threats, and sudden collapse. Inside the IR.
So I think you have to remember too, with them, they have been set up for survival. And this group, the besieged militia, these are the ones that actually carried out a lot of the killings, the mass industrial level murder of their own people during the protests. The besieged are hidden among the people, so they could be like, your friendly neighborhood, teacher. And then all of a sudden they put the besieged mask on, they go out and enforce the IRGC's law. Okay, so and there's 600,000 of these characters, these besieged, allegedly 600,000, just in amongst the population. And I think people know who they are, but they can blend in too. So we don't know who they are unless we have intelligence telling us. The IRGC itself is the more hardcore military wing.
GC sits the Basij, a mass mobilization force used for internal security, crisis response, and ideological enforcement. Iran also maintains parallel intelligence services, while the two main branches remain the Ministry of Intelligence that follows the government and the IRGC intelligence unit. There are around 16 services that operate under the Council for Intelligence Coordination. Beyond its borders, Iran projects influence through a specialized force. The IRGC's Quds Force manages Iran's regional networks, including in Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq, and previously Syria.
So
it operates with tactical flexibility, but
the Quds Force is like a special operations force, okay? The Quds Force is almost like their version of SOCOM, okay? But they also support Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and they support proxy wars all over the place. And so I think it's important to realize that, the Quds Force is definitely advanced and dangerous abroad, dangerous in their own country, and that's a more sophisticated operator for sure, is the Quds Force. Okay, and they're alive and well inside of Iran as well. Now, these are the guys who are also training people to attack our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines in Iraq with IEDs, advanced IED technology. Okay, so no love lost there. Bad people for sure, and not our friends. Okay, bad, not our friends. So that's there as well too. Okay, and we'll watch a little bit more of that
within limits set in Tehran. Military command is organized through separate entities known as Maqar. The Khatam al-Anbiya unit coordinates joint military operations during wartime and national emergencies, while the Muhammad Rasulullah bloc is responsible for defending Tehran and managing internal emergencies. Both the IRGC and the Army maintain their own joint staffs. They coordinate. Above the battlefield sits the political security layer, the Supreme National Security Council, which brings together senior military commanders.
So now at this point, the IRGC controls all of this. Okay, I think we understand that. The IRGC controls everyone, everything, the supreme leader. The IRGC, this war has accelerated the IRGC's takeover of Iran. Okay, so what does that mean? That means they are being hardened, radicalized, and they're already radical, they're already fanatical, but even more hardcore, even more hardline. The ones that survive right now are going to become, well, they already are. Okay, they're seizing more control. So again, will negotiations work? Are negotiations even happening? Who's negotiating? If it's not IRGC connected, it almost doesn't matter. Okay, it could just be it could be fake just to buy time. I don't think you've seen the hard line demands that have come out. We're going to look at that in a minute. Okay, Iran has put out a series of demands for our negotiations. Okay, we put out a series of demands. They came back with even more absurd demands, such as sovereign control of the Straits of Hormuz. So let's take a look at that right now as we get into our strategy segment. And again, if you're new here, please respond to our poll. I'm going to actually put a new poll in right now, and I'm going to get some of these questions in here. Let's see here. Let me see. Jasmine says, I'm Canadian, so I rely on Nate and Ben and others about this stuff. Awesome, Jasmine. Let's see. Okay. All right. We got our poll 1 hour ago. What island we see first? Keshem, 40%. Karg, 42%. Labak, 16%. We shall see. Hopefully nothing. And we'll see. Okay. All right. Let me see. Got a new poll. Okay. Are we actually negotiating with Iran right now? They say we're not. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think, okay? This is really about a truth about what we're being told. How much do you believe what's being put out there right now, okay? All right. So let's hear this. So elsewhere, we have some strategy changes that are happening, okay? The strategy changes are that maybe we're going to bomb everything. If they don't open up the straits really soon, which leads me to the question of strategy, Trump's strategy. What is the strategy? Okay, guys, put a 1 in the chat if you think we have a coherent strategy right now. And put a 0 in the chat if you don't think we have a coherent strategy right now. Again, 1 in the chat if you think we have a coherent strategy right now. Put a 0 in the chat if you don't think we have a coherent strategy right now. Okay? So, today, President Trump put out an interesting tweet, which makes me go, making me go, what the hell is going on here? Okay? I think I was a microscopic person for a little while there. That was me and my little puppet show backstage. But it made me really go, what the hell is this? Well, if you guys didn't see it, I'm going to put it up here for you. Okay. But again, remember, give me a 1. Lots of zeros. No, not even any reason. Zach says 0. First 4 Rifleman 0. The Diamond Dog 0. Joe 0. Stoned Actual 0. Brian Plummer, what's up, man? 0. Good to have you here, Brian. Other King 0. Lady Ann 0. Jasmine 0. B Salmon 0. Buffalo. I can't even say Buffy K Jesus or Jesus 0. God 0. All right. Let's check it out. It made me really say, what the hell's going on? And then I'm going to play something else for you guys in a second. Okay? That we're going to analyze the IRGC speech, which, let's make sure I have it. I want to make sure I have the right one. Hold on. I think it might be this guy. Nope. Let me see. I'll find it in a second. But let's get up number 1 thing first. Let's get the thing that made me go, what the hell? What the hell? Here we go. Let's do this. I got to share this with you guys because it really had me. I thought, okay, we're pausing. We got to pause in the strikes, or at least in the war. I don't know. We'll pause in what? I have no idea. The April 6th deadline. And then this comes out. Pretty interesting. Interesting, like crazy. Kind of crazy. But I'm going to have another question for you guys after this. Okay, here we go.
Oil prices spiking again after President Trump said he wants to take Iran's oil. And then moments ago, he posted this on his Truth Social, quote, saying, if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached,
all right, I will read it to you.
Which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our...
All right. The United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations. Well, we're gonna have to take a look at the poll. If you guys think we're actually talking to Iran or not, we may or may not be. A new, more reasonable regime to end our military operations. Maybe it's like a sock puppet. You know, we're talking to a sock puppet. Maybe that's what's happening. Okay. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, we don't know a timeline. There's no timeline. Shortly, when is that? Does allow for maximum political flexibility. I will note that, which it probably will be. Okay. And if the Straits of Hormuz, the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for just like before, I asked you guys, what does obliterate mean? What's obliterate? I don't know. Do you know? We defined obliterate one Friday night. Obliterate means 30% destruction, we decided. Of military terms, military destruction means 30% reduction in capability of that unit or of that item. So obliteration gets us a couple months until it's back working again. So it's basically militarily destroyed. So obliterate doesn't mean obliterate like you and I know it. So immediately in this case means anytime. Shortly means anytime, right? Strait is not immediately open for business. We will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly, this is crazy, and possibly all desalination plants. Who the hell told him this was a good idea? Now, I know this president, and before going further, hey, welcome aboard. Great to have you. Jesus, I can't say it, Buffalo K. Jesus, I'm sorry, man, I'm murdering it. Welcome, brother. Great to have you. Awesome. Hey, great job. Thanks, Jasmine. Welcome, Buff. And Jasmine, thank you. All right. And so here's the thing. And possibly all desalinization plants. You guys see this? Right? Now, this would be basically a war crime. Okay? This is total war against the people of Iran. And then they would launch total war against our allies. Okay? So they would definitely launch strikes against the desalinization plants of other countries. If we destroy the desalinization plants, this takes months to fix. You can get a power grid back up. If we launched against their electrical generating plants, they can get those up in a matter of sometimes a couple days, sometimes a couple weeks. Okay. If they have the material, things like that. Desalinization plants, very complex though, can take months to fix. Meanwhile, people are going without water for months. If we attack that, they will go holy horse shit, and they will attack every desalinization plant in the region, okay? Saudi, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, you name it, okay? You know they have them dialed in. You know they have some kind of kooky force or missiles or something dialed in to do it. Will they miss? Maybe, but they might get one. If they get one, I mean, you're going to look to see people dying of thirst, right? Literally. Water will kill you faster than food. Okay, if you go without water for 3 days to 5 days, you're dead. Okay, I think it's even less than that. But I'm saying if you're a really hardcore desert dweller and you used to not having water, going with less water, but you're still, no food, no animals, things don't work, can't be clean, you name it. There's so many things that water is dependent upon, okay? That depends upon water. All right. So, desalinization plants, he says, and possibly all desalinization plants, which we have purposefully not yet touched. No kidding. This is like we're getting to Japan and Germany levels of destruction if we do this, okay? Which was a savage war, World War II, existential war for Europe, even, for the United States. Japan had hit us. And the next plans, we discovered plans, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we discovered plans. I've studied World War II pretty extensively, that eventually Germany was going to invade the United States, okay? Hitler had plans for that. Would he have succeeded? Probably not. Obviously, history has already proven that. But anyway, big difference in the wars between that and this. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the regime's 47-year reign of terror. Thank you for their attention to this matter. So now, and I get it, not good. The regime's not good. Iranian military, not good. IRGC, bad, all bad. Quds Force, terrible, okay? Hamas, Hezbollah, down with all of them. But the Iranian people will suffer. We're going to attack the Iranian people who we're supposed to be also supporting as an implied task through doing all this. Okay. So this just came out of nowhere when we're supposed to be having these negotiations and all that. So the question I have for you guys, tell me what you think. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys think that President Trump is just using bluster and craziness to be crazy like a fox. He's just playing a role of like his left hand doesn't know what the right hand's going to do because he doesn't talk, and he's unpredictable. The staff can't even control him. Good cop, bad cop. He's crazy. Put a 1 in the chat, okay? If you think President Trump is playing a crazy role and he's trying to create uncertainty and fear in the Iranians. And put a 0 in the chat if you just think that he's just, I don't know, he's lost the plot. If you think he's kind of lost it, put a 0. If you think 1, if you think President Trump's playing a role to get the Iranians concerned that he's really like a madman, he's playing the madman role, put a 1. 1 if you think he's playing a role of the madman, 0 if you think he's actually lost it. Okay, so Joe's saying 1, Stone actual 1. That's his MO. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I agree with you too. I think so too. Propaganda says no, he's lost it. Propaganda's like he's lost it. Mason Young, what's going on, man? Mason, long time no see, brother. Good to have you. Brian Plummer says 1. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. Does he? Does he have frontal lobe dementia? I heard that before someone say that. Zach says, nope, he's lost the plot. Heather King says, yep, this is a role. Yeah, flying arrow. Yeah, show strength. It's almost like Marco Rubio is the good cop, President Trump's the bad cop. Does that sound right? Marco is one of the guys that once said is Narcos Rubio. I never heard that before. But Marco Rubio is like good cop. President Trump's like bad cop. Like Marco Rubio's out there being the diplomat. He could be good cop. We could get this done, a deal. It doesn't even need that. But yeah, Lady Ann, that's true. First War Rifleman says, nope, he's lost it. So deep in the role. Yeah, Buff. You might be right, man. I don't know. I mean, that's true, right? You get so deep into your method acting that the next thing you know, you become this person. Zero focus, 100%. There's a lot to think about, everybody. There's a lot to freaking think about with this thing. I'm just telling you. You know, I mean, this again. Why am I bringing this up? Because I don't like these things when I hear, oh, President Trump's an idiot. He's so stupid. He doesn't know. Okay, come on now, right? He's got teams of advisors, all these people. You may not like what he's doing, and he may actually not make good decisions. But do you think he has a plan? Give me a 1 if you think he has a plan. Give me a 0 if you think he does not have a plan. 1 if he has a plan. 0 if he doesn't have a plan. I'll tell you what I think. Okay, I'll have to check that out, Jasmine. I know Nate likes to deep dive into all those little areas. But give me a 1 in the chat if you think he has a plan. President Trump has a plan, like crazy like a fox, or a 0 if he has no plan. He's just doing stuff and reacting. You know, I personally think they did this on a erroneous assumption that the regime would fall. I do think that, but I do think they have a plan. But a plan does not imply that your timeline or the enemy will support your plan, which is what's playing out to me. Okay. Mason, Ben, do you think they will be doing a lot of DA mission sets on the island over there? Yeah, I think so. I think they'll do probably some direct action. I think you don't want to send any people where you can send a missile, where you can send a robot or a missile or a drone. But if there's a sensitive site or a person we need to capture to get intelligence value, or let's say there's a sensitive area, like frequently, you know, until we have, and I'll be honest with you, until we have the autonomous capability with robots and drones to do shoot, no shoot drills, right? You shoot this one, you don't shoot that one. Until we have a high degree of confidence in that, you're going to have to send highly trained operators to go and do things. Okay. And so I think when that makes sense is when they have a scenario where someone's using civilians as a human shield. That's a high value target we need to take alive, or someone we need to kill who needs to go away, or we discover there's material of intelligence value, extreme value we need to capture, or nuclear fissile material. That's where you're going to see some deep stuff going on in those caves, okay? But also intelligence with the CIA, intelligence assets working for us, possibly proxy forces, possibly, hopefully, coalition forces like Saudis, like, going in there, like coalition forces, other countries going in that are from the GCC maybe or somewhere else that can go in and capture some things for us. But again, to really prove the strategy, here's the thing, guys. The thing is this for me, and I wrote this down as one of the points I want to make tonight. Again, the keys to the war: control Strait of Hormuz, no nukes for Iran. Bombing historically doesn't work long term. That being said, no ballistic missile threat to the region from Iran. And last is this: regime change. Okay, but regime change doesn't guarantee all of this. In fact, I will say this: regime change doesn't guarantee you get the material for the nukes, the nuclear fissile material. You don't get the enriched uranium. Okay, this does not equal that. Okay, and so what is the only thing that equals that? What is the only thing that lets us get our hands on the nuclear, the 1,000 pounds, I think it is, or 1,000 kilograms of enriched uranium? Okay, and you guys can fact check me on ChatGPT. I don't know how much it is, but it's a bunch. It's like 1,000 pounds or 1,000 kilos, something. It's a lot, though. What's the only thing that does that? And no, not Vladimir Putin. Putin offered, said, I'll come get it for you. They'll give it to me. I'll do it. We'll do it. We'll get it. Trump was like, yeah, no, thanks, Vlad. I'm good. And so this takes boots in the ground, or it takes the IAEA to go in and get it. Again, some of these settlements and some of these international organizations at least can monitor it. Okay, that's why some people are saying, what the hell, we were better off before than we are now. We don't even know what they're doing now. We don't even know where it is. Maybe they've already transported it to China. Where is it? We don't know. Okay, so there's a lot to think about here. But what I'm saying is that we've gotten ourselves in the horns of a dilemma, because if we don't open the Straits of Hormuz, we have lost. Okay, strategic objective is, it's a strategic failure. Okay, and then we have to basically bow down to Iran and say, well, what are your terms? So Iran's come out with crazy terms too. Let's watch this. I'm gonna get back in the fight here a minute in the chat. Okay, Brian Plummer, Ben, what do you think about the idea that they don't really have a plan because they don't want to get too embroiled unless Taiwan or Pakistan settles down? I think that's a good point. It's for sure a good point. But I think that they have a plan to have branch plans and contingency plans. Like, if that happens, then we do this. If those pots boil, we put a lid on this one, lower the fire, we take care of those, and then we're gonna dedicate an air wing, okay, a big air package to this to keep whack-a-mole. We're gonna whack-a-mole until we can come back and really deal with them, okay? And Israel's going to sign up to whack-a-mole with us, and then we're going to go full force dealing with Taiwan, full force deal with if Putin, jeez, I'm losing it. If Putin shoots the Suwalki Gap in Poland, right? This is World War III 100%, okay? We might be in World War III right now, okay? Many strategists and historians have said that Putin invading Ukraine and seizing Crimea was the first shot, and then invading Ukraine was the really first part, a hot start to World War III, okay? And now this is just a piece of World War III. So we're going to wonder later whether they're going to say that World War III starts once we invade Iran, or it's already started with this air war plus Putin invading Ukraine. Okay, so I think that they have to have a plan. In strategy, you can't just wish it away. So Brian, I think to answer it, I think that they probably have a plan, but it might be what you're saying, that the plan says if those don't happen, we keep going and we keep developing a new plan based upon what the enemy does. Now that's true too. I don't want to talk so much trash because I see a lot of these guys out there have no military experience, or they have no strategic experience, right? They could be, making stuff up. They're a YouTuber and they're making stuff up. And that's fine. They're trying to deal with it. But, also in strategy, you can maintain your flexibility in saying, we have these objectives. We don't fully know how we're going to accomplish it, but we're going to try air power, and then we're going to adapt to the enemy. The enemy gets a vote, okay? So to maintain your strategic flexibility is important. Once you unleash on the ground, your strategic flexibility starts to go away. You are committed. It's a major, major commitment. You got to move everybody into the region. You got to go ashore, blood and treasure. Then to get everybody out is a massive movement as well, too. That's why we need to be very, very concerned about, stating strategic objectives that could get us into a bad place for our country's vital core interests, okay, which are, physical security, economic prosperity, right? All those things are very important. And so I think, but again, I will say this, President Trump is unlike probably any other president. I think we'd all agree on that, okay? And so he could decide to just reverse course and be like, yeah, we won. We kicked the crap out. Don't listen to these guys. They're dummies. We killed them. We wiped out their country. We could have done more. We could have done a lot more. And I've decided that this isn't our best interest anymore. If they can get the straits open, hook or by crook, and it sounds like they're going to have to get it open by hook. They're going to have to smash completely all the defenses in the area, smash the sea mines, smash all the drone forces. And they could do a lot of that by the air. They definitely could. Okay. They could declare victory. If they open the straits, they could declare victory and be like, yeah, we'll come back and we'll come back. And he could leave. Okay. But if the straits aren't open, he can't declare victory. It's too concrete. It's too concrete of a thing staring you in the face where there's trillions of dollars being lost every day. I think we did it before on the Hormuz Strait tracker. I'm going to pull it up right now. Okay. Of how much money we're losing every day. And also about the price of oil. Okay. So here we go. The price of oil as well, too. If we're at $15 a barrel, you can't go saying, yeah, or say $15 a gallon at the pump, $150 of oil, $150 per barrel of oil, $150 a barrel, $15 at the pump. You can't declare victory, spike the ball, and go home, right? Okay, so here we are. Brent crude is at 91.47 right now. It's up $3 over the past 24 hours. I think it dropped down and then went back up again, okay? 3 ships are transiting right now through the Gulf, okay? So that's only 6% of normal. We're going to take a look at the maritime tracker. Stranded vessels, 320 tankers, bulk carriers, and other. That's 8 more today are stranded. 105 oil tankers, 185, my eyes, 185 oil tankers, 95 bulk carriers, 40 other ships are stranded at the Straits of Hormuz. Okay. Daily throughput is 650. Okay. 650,000 metric tons. Okay. And this is only 6% of normal. Risk insurance, extreme. It's a 43%, all right, 43 times normal. That's crazy. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that. 43.3% times the normal. So no one will insure anyone. No insurance. And there's no ship captain will go through that. Okay? They just won't do that. Let's take a look. Here we go. Daily cost, $4.2 billion. Daily cost. This has been going on. All my smart people out there, get out your calculators. So I'm going to break mine out. 4.2 times 30, roughly. Here we are. 10,000 billion, which is what? 10 trillion. Am I wrong about this? Guys, smart guys out there, do this math for me. 4.2 billion, okay? Someone smarter than me, do this math. 4.2 billion times 30 days, right? We've been at war 30 days now? Yeah. Okay. 30 times 4.2 is 126 billion. 126 billion in trade basically lost, okay? So from this. And then let's look at here. LNG supply impact, 1.8 billion. 1.8 billion daily for gas. All right, let's look at the maritime tracker. Here we are. So they said 4 ships are getting through. Let's zoom on in. Let's see who they are. Why are they getting through? Remember, guys, the red triangles are the oil tankers. The green are the what do you call it? The green are the container ships. Okay, red are the oil tankers. Green, red's for the oil blood, the lifeblood of the earth. Okay, they call the Straits of Hormuz the jugular of the world. If you didn't know that, okay, Straits of Hormuz is the jugular of the world. That's what they call it because oil is the blood of the world, makes the world run. Okay, someday that might change if Tesla has their way, but for right now, no. If Elon Musk has his way. So let's say who's getting through. The sunrise destination, Iraq. Okay. And let's see this one. This one's to order, Cuba. This one, the Kush. Oh, okay, Kazakhstan. These are Kazakhstan, I think. KAZ. You guys can fact check me on that. I think it's Kazakhstan destination. Let's see. These got through over here. Iraq. Okay, let's go to Iraq. Let's see. This one looks like it's on its way. Vadinar, Karachi, going to Pakistan. Let's see. Pakistan. So 185 oil vessels are parked. They can't get through. They're stuck. Okay, you see all the ships stuck. No one can get through. This might have been one of the ones that was hit. I think this is the, I know they fired a missile at a ship recently that crashed. But again, guys, get your bearings straight. Here's UAE, here's Dubai, here's Oman, there's Qatar, okay? Saudi Arabia here, Kuwait up here, Iraq is up here. This is Iran, Straits of Hormuz are right here. This is Kesh Island. I'm talking about Keshem Island. That's Lubbock. Karg is all the way up here. Again, like I told you guys before, we're talking about Karg Island and we're going to seize it. How? You're going to jump the 82nd Airborne in? Let me tell you something. Any of my military people out there know jump operations are very dangerous. You can expect 10% of the people to get injured on impact, especially static line. Okay, static line meaning you're not jumping like a free fall chute that you can steer. 10% people get turned ankles, hurt knees, broken ankles. Okay, maybe not 10%, maybe 5%. But those 5% then need people to care for them and help them. Okay, and then on top of that, you're a sitting duck. Okay, they can blast you, and you have no support. We have no naval. We have air power. We have air power for sure to help them. But why wouldn't you come down here? Our carrier strike groups are super close right here. Carrier strike groups are right here. And we can smash the hell out of them. It's a shorter flight time. Okay? Now, very bad with mines, all that stuff. Anyway, like I was saying, you got to go through here anyway. You got to go through here anyway to get there. That's my opinion. All right. You guys let me know what you think in the chat. Let's get back in there and check out what everybody's up to. Let's see here. Propaganda says East Asia and South Asia are heavily reliant on, yep, things come out straight. Joe Saunders, what I'm saying is it's not enough to have the oil if you can't refine it. It's very true. Very true. Jasmine, Joe Saunders, over the decades, I've heard so many stories on why we are reliant on foreign oil. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we're a net exporter. We have enough oil, but like we're not touching our strategic reserve. Maybe we're crazy like a fox. Don't touch our own stuff. Use theirs. And then if we have a massive war, we use our own stuff and we start drilling. Drill, baby, drill. Okay. It's not that we don't have the oil in the ground. Yeah, we haven't built a new refinery in decades. That's true. Our refineries are in Houston and in California. And guess what? Most of our refineries down in Houston, I believe, can take the Venezuelan heavy crude oil. If you guys were here with me on my live when I did the live on that. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's keep on going. So we saw the maritime traffic. Let's get back into what is being said by President Trump, because it's interesting.
lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electrical generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalination plants.
The president also has now pushed off that deadline that he has set another time, now saying that he's going to hold off until April 6th in targeting Iranian energy sites to allow for these talks that he's now writing about this morning. You wrote that continuing to push this off is a sign of weakness. Do you think he should hit Iran's energy infrastructure, though?
Well, I think if we have the support of the Gulf Arab states who risk retaliation from Iran, if we do that, then the answer is yes. Just on this point, the mediators said that Iran had not asked for an extension of the deadline. That's what Trump said. They asked for it, so I gave it to them. The mediator, not Iran, the mediator said.
Hey, so I want to say this. You heard Ambassador Bolton there talking about if we have the support of the Gulf Arab oil states like the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, right? Then it would be easier for us to strike the power plants and things like that. Again, I think we're putting a lot of pressure on the regime, but we're putting a lot of pressure on the Iranian people too. And I'm just saying, with experience from Iraq, and also experience with how everything went in other insurgencies elsewhere, like Afghanistan too, that every time you hurt the people on the ground, they use it as propaganda. You create a new insurgent, okay? And so if we have to go on the ground and we take away the power grid and we keep bombing them, people are getting killed. Civilians are dying, okay? And the regime is going to blame it on us. They're going to use propaganda against us. They don't have internet. They don't have TV. All they get are leaflets and get things being told to them. We're creating insurgents, okay? This isn't going to be easier for us. For me personally, I think we stay focused on military objectives. We stay focused on drones, suicide boats, missiles, troop clusters, command and control nodes. We get to work clearing out the damn sea mines. We need to focus on the Straits of Hormuz. And again, if you're just joining us, please like, subscribe, and share, first of all, and comment once I post it. It helps me out, helps the channel out. Welcome to the best chat in YouTube. Next of all, we're going to give a quick round of applause to our chat. Get the best chat in YouTube. It's not from me. It is from me. You guys are the best. But also, other people that visit here say this is the smartest chat, coolest chat, best chat in YouTube. Okay? So you guys, that's all of you guys. And I appreciate all of you and all your support. All right. So this is the thing. We got to focus on the Straits of Hormuz. We got to focus on clearing out the sea mines. We got to focus on, reducing their ability to shut the Straits of Hormuz. If we do that, we can more easily, first of all, we can declare victory and have flexibility. The Straits of Hormuz are now open, right? We can deny Iran selling their oil. So we have an economic stranglehold on them. Next, if we want to go ashore, we can. If we focus on reducing their defenses in the area. If we are attacking power plants on Keshem Island, that's one thing. If we're attacking power plants around military facilities, that's another thing, okay? But if we're just attacking power plants in Tehran, they're not specific. That's the thing. We don't know because we're not in the know. And they don't specify. I will tell you, I don't give President Trump the best grades for his communication. As a leader, it's vital you sell the plan to the people. Yes, wartime. Is it really wartime? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, they weren't using the words war before in the first week. Okay. But we are at war. It's war. We had American service members killed, 15 of them killed. And we're spending a lot of money on this campaign, very committed, emptying our magazines in a war that is not an existential fight. Okay. Iran is a threat. I think Diamond Dog, I saw you ask, is Iran a threat? Somebody in the comments said that. Iran is definitely a threat. If they had a nuke, they'd be a real threat. They've killed Americans for decades in Iraq, okay, in Afghanistan, in Lebanon, Beirut, Lebanon. They bombed the Marine barracks. Okay, there's no love lost there. They're bad people. They seized our embassy, killed people there. I mean, this regime's got the beat down coming to them, no doubt about it. But we don't want to carry this over to the Iranian people, okay? Because then we're going to radicalize them. We're going to radicalize them and harden them against us. Because at some point, a beatdown's a beatdown, okay? No matter what your intentions are. And if you're not there to be the strongest tribe on the ground. Watch my videos, guys. They're only 10 minutes long, 9 minutes long. This last video I put out, just long form video, I talk about being the strongest tribe on the ground. The IRGC is the strongest tribe. Okay, they control everything until they have no one's going to uprise against them until they know they have the strongest tribe backing them. Okay, insurgencies do not succeed unless there is a external support. External support is critical for an insurgency, meaning, Russia, China, the United States, whoever it is that's the sponsor of this insurgent force. You need external support that's big and powerful, has lots of money to support them. And the Iranian people need the United States to support them, okay, if they're gonna uprise. But if it's not a strategic goal, we got to say it, okay? And President Trump needs to sell these things a little bit better. And I know he's playing the role right now, playing crazy like a fox. But in the meantime, the American people are like, "What the hell's going on? What are we doing? Are we going to go in?" If you confuse your own base so much that they're all calling bullshit on this, okay, that's a problem. And I know everybody says, "Oh, the MAGA base will support him no matter what." I don't know about that. Guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you think the MAGA base will support President Trump for pretty much anything. And give me a 0 if you don't think they will. I want to know what you guys think, okay? You're all smart people. So put a 1 in the chat if you think the MAGA base will support President Trump on anything. Give me a 0 if you don't think so, especially if he's not communicating well what our end state and what our plan is there. All right, let's see. Yep, that's right, Juan Wick. It was not. You're right. It was not voted for in Congress. So there's really bad diplomatic relations with Iran. Yeah, La Diamond Dog for sure. Okay. MME, Lucy. I hope that we're not reaching out to Iranian people on the internet. So, yeah, I hope we are too. I would hope so too, but I don't know if they have internet right now. I don't know. Lucy 81. I don't know. Propaganda now. The petrodollar's at risk, so we got to go no matter what. Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, these are real things. Joe Saunders 0. Okay. I agree with you, Joe. Buff says 1. Okay. Paul, I typed out other day. I don't know how many types are given. Anyone have an idea? I don't know. Okay. First War Rifleman. I assume Lieutenant Colonel Pappas is basing that on Bing West's book, The Strongest Tribe, probably his personal experience in Iraq too. Yeah, I think it's I think that's probably where it comes from, but we would talk about it a lot when I was in Iraq and talking about counterinsurgency. We would talk about the strongest tribe. I think I haven't read Bing West's book. I know he was out there doing his journalist stuff, and his son was serving as well when I was out there different times. But I haven't read his book, but it was just something we would talk about because it was just, I think he took that from counterinsurgency theory. And it might have been from General Petraeus, honestly, because he wrote like the book on counterinsurgency at the time. And then there were a lot of others too. I might be mistaken. So forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. But I know strongest tribe we talked about a lot is that the tribal nature of these places, they look at whoever is the strongest group outside of the government, they will follow. Okay. And you need to show that you're the strongest tribe for them to get behind you and not behind the insurgents. That's the point. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree, guys. Mark 0, Stoned Actual 0, Texas 1, Propaganda 0. Okay. Got it. Let's see where we're at with our poll. Are we actually negotiating with Iran right now? No. Overwhelming, 77% no. Yes, 23%. I hope you guys are right, but I think not. Okay, vote in the poll if you haven't voted yet, guys. And remember to please like, subscribe, and share. Not going to cost you anything to subscribe. It helps the channel. And the bigger the channel grows, even the bigger and bigger interviews I can get and bring people to the show. So it'll help out a lot. Thank you. Okay. Joe Saunders, is it a question of MAGA supporting Trump or Trump supporting MAGA? Great question. Great question, Joe. I mean, MAGA was just a vehicle for the nomination, eventually the presidency. Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. Well, if he loses the base, though, I think what happens is that if the midterm elections turn in November, then it's a real problem for the presidency and his legacy and also getting things done. Because if the House turns, right, less things can get done. Although how that's possible than what's going on right now, I don't know. Doesn't seem like much is getting done right now. Nobody's getting paid. It's a friggin' nut show. Government being shut down, all that stuff. All right, let's keep on rolling here.
They never asked for it. So it's very much in question just exactly what the state of play in these negotiations really is. Maybe we'll know more this week, but I don't think any negotiation that goes on by passing messengers through the mediators is close to a solution. If we sit down with the Iranians and come up with something, that would be different. But I'm not optimistic even on that point.
Yeah, and the president also this morning, I believe for the first time, is now threatening to, as part of the retaliation, part of what would come if Iran doesn't come to the table. I believe for the first time he is now threatening to hit desalination plants. That's what he wrote today, which are a critical source of fresh water, of course, for the entire Gulf region. Is that something you would like to see? What impact do you think that would have on this conflict?
No, I wouldn't recommend that, again, mostly because I'm concerned about retaliation to our Gulf Arab allies. And that's something we need their continued support. And
so I just want to make note here, okay? This guy, Ambassador Bolton, he used to be National Security Advisor under Trump, his first term. Trump then had him arrested, indicted, and tried for whatever, classified material, mishandling classified material, all these things like that, okay? So no love lost there, but Bolton is a war hawk. Bolton was encouraging Trump to invade Iran while to do regime change in Iran in his first term. Okay, Trump even said, he goes, Bolton was crazy. He's the most bloodthirsty of everybody. He wanted me to invade Iran the first term. And he was saying this in the campaign trail, and then as soon as he got in power, and here we are now doing it. So now Bolton is exonerated, and where is he? He's all over he's a talking head all over CNN, all over these places. And he's the one, even that he's a war hawk, is saying it is not a good idea to strike desalination plants. This is not smart, okay? Why? Because the retaliation against our Gulf Arab allies like the GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, all these places, Saudi Arabia, all these places will suffer, okay? And all these places will be in big trouble because if Iran has their desalination plants dialed in and hits them, then that's it, and then you're going to have massive suffering across the entire region because President Trump decided to strike the desalination plants. They haven't done it yet. It's one thing, I will say, it's one thing if Iran went and struck the desalination plants across the region, but they specifically said they're not going to do that unless it's done to them, okay? So there's an escalation ladder here. You have to remember there's an escalation ladder. As we climb the escalation ladder, hoping to get more gains by doing harder, meaner, nastier, more coercive things, they will do the same as long as they have the capability. And again, remember the assumptions, testing the assumptions that I talked about in the very beginning? The assumption we have, the critical Jenga piece, the critical assumption that the Iranian regime will fall. Remember playing Jenga? You built your tower up, right? You're pulling this piece out, the critical assumption, the critical piece. The regime will fall in 5 days, maybe 10 days, but at worst, 30 days, they're going to fall. It hasn't happened, okay? And also, they're not going to have any capability to strike back within 2 weeks. Surely no capability within 4 weeks. They still do. They're still firing missiles. They're still attacking boats. Their straits are closed. We're not closed because of no reason. There's a threat, okay? So a lot of flawed assumptions so far. So if we assume they can't strike the desalination plants and we strike theirs, and they strike others in the region, we're talking a calamity, massive proportions, possibly thousands of people dying because of thirst, okay, or starvation, however it affects them, okay? So this is what's at stake here. So you have a war hawk like Bolton saying, don't do it. This whole time he's like, I'm sure he doesn't like President Trump, but he never says a word. He's like, nah, I think it's the right move. I just think we need to flip the regime. I think they're going too soft. This is on CNN, right? He's like, everyone's like, is this terrible? He's like, nah, I've been telling him the whole time he needs to do it. I don't know why we're doing it this way. We really need to go in there and flip the regime. We need to go in. And this is the guy saying, don't hit the desalination plants, okay? So we're kind of getting it. Probably pretty important when the war hawk himself is telling you, don't do it, okay? Let's keep rolling here.
Participation. I think the president's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's the international price of oil. Not thinking about nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles, terrorism.
That's key. He's thinking of one thing and one thing only, the international price of oil. Let that sink in for a minute, okay? He's not thinking about nuclear weapons, he's not thinking about terrorists, anything like that, okay? The price of oil. Very interesting, which makes me think of, I'll be a little conspiracy theorist here, or high-level strategist, one or the other, that this is connected to China, that this is all about China. Venezuela was about China and Russia. This is the great game. This is actually about China and Russia. If Bolton's saying that, and he's right, this whole thing is about China and Russia, really about China. 5% of China's oil came from Venezuela. 20% came from Iran, okay? We've deprived them of a quarter of their energy needs. So that's 25% taken away, okay? If Trump is concerned about oil, he said the price of oil, but oil overall made me think, I've heard this theory before that this is about China. This isn't even about Iran, okay? So we are systematically dismantling the network, the Belt and Road concept, and the international network that China has built up in order to change the international order in their favor. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Put a 0 if you don't. Give me a 1 in the chat if you agree with that, a 0 if you don't. Okay? Give me a 1 in the chat if you think that this is about China, this whole thing, the great game. Yes, there are tactical things to deal with Iran. Yes, there are subset goals that are about Iran purely and about the Middle East. But overall, this is about energy, and this is about oil, and this is about China, number one. This is how we fight them and defeat them without fighting them and defeating them. Give me a 1 if you agree with that. Give me a 0 if you don't. It's not a problem. You don't have to agree. Best chat in YouTube. You guys can say what you want, and we'll have a good discussion. China. He says China. Say about China. It is pretty good. Awesome, guys. All right. I see some 1s coming in there. Appreciate it. All right. I see it. Yep. Yeah, right. For the yuan. Yeah, China does play the long game, Joe. That's right. 100%. Yeah, Jasmine. 100%. Yep. It's crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. As he said that, I just realized, like, oh my gosh, the China theory is probably right. It's all connected to the oil, energy. This is the great game of defeating China without defeating them. Starve them of their oil. You know? I mean, this is some high-level strategic stuff here. So let's see. Let's keep listening here.
He's thinking about the closure of the the Strait of Hormuz, which is why you have this speculation about what the military may be up to. The better answer is to blockade the Strait of Hormuz and not let any Iranian oil out. If our Gulf Arab allies can't ship oil, then neither should the Iranians, nor should they be able to earn the proceeds from that, which in one way or another filter back to their war effort to kill American service members.
Let me ask you, if the focus, the focus is definitely largely, at least, on oil and the price of oil, but we now also have reporting from the Wall Street Journal suggesting that Trump's weighing U.S. military operation to go in to extract nearly 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. If he would be able to secure the uranium, is it worth sending in ground troops, you believe?
So 2 things really fast.
Well, I think at some point.
All right, so 2 things.
We have to make sure.
I got to try to stop this guy. Hold on 1 second.
That the enriched uranium, the centrifuges.
All right, so 2 things here. 1, he thinks the best way to do this is with a blockade and not allowing any Iranian oil out either. He thinks it was stupid that we allowed them to sell their oil, and especially it's oil that's going to help them to resist us, okay? So the reason why Scott Bessent did that with Trump, why did they do that strategy of letting the oil out and lifting the sanctions, was in order to, as they said, use their oil against them. What they're doing is they were lowering the price of oil, putting a higher supply on the market. Therefore, oil wouldn't go up. Therefore, the feasibility, suitability, supportability of the war would extend, okay? So that's why they did it. But he's saying it's stupid. He's saying it was just stupid. We should just blockade all the straits, let no oil out, let no one out, and we decide who comes out. But in order to do that too, we got to pound the hell out of the sea mines, pound the hell out of Qasem, pound the hell out of Lubbock. I mean, honestly, now that we've done all that, this next phase of the war needs to be Operation Hormuz and just taking Hormuz. Does it mean we have to physically take it? Again, getting to the thumbnail, guys, the Marine invasion on April 6th. We're talking about that. We talked about it earlier. Do we need to do an invasion on April 6th? Will there be a Marine Corps invasion? I believe, just a recap for anybody just joining us now, I believe there will be limited strikes, limited raids, amphibious raids, air assaults, air raids, direct action raids, because they're special operations capable. Special operations forces can sea base with the Marine Corps as well too. But I don't see a major invasion. Okay, will the 82nd Airborne jump in? You're asking for a lot of casualties. To seize Carg Island for what? For what? And we still have the Straits of Hormuz closed. How stupid. Yes. Now, IRGC, fanatical crazies, we just took all your money. They don't care. Okay, they don't care. They've got so much money, gold, food, everything's set up. The thing they don't have is probably water, right? But they have another seaport, access to fresh water, I believe, north of them, or not fresh water, but they have I think it's north of Tehran. Okay, so they have more water access up there. But what I'm saying is this, they might have a desalination plant up there, I'm not sure. But I'm saying that you need to open the straits. That needs to be the focus. All the pounding, depth charges, missiles going to clear the sea mines, underwater drones. We have all this stuff. I'm going to pull something up for you guys. We have this thing called a Manta drone, okay? I'm sure the Manta drone is operating right now. I'm sure it is. I'm going to see if we have it here. Okay, I pulled it up. I did a special on it once in one of my lives a while ago over the summer. But I'm going to see if I can find it. So this is it. Here's the Manta Ray drone. I'm going to share this with you guys. Let's get to
Hello,
this.
everyone, and welcome.
All right.
There are, of course, brand new underwater drones.
Hold on a second. This guy's not doing what I want him to do. There's another one that has the Manta Ray. Here we go. This is the Manta Ray drone.
The world's oceans are a brutal and unforgiving place. In the cold, murky depths, everything is a hunter, everything is hunted, and one day, everything is food. From sharks and barracuda whose teeth can shear any sort of flesh to deep-diving whales that do battle with mighty intelligence. Its name is the Manta Ray, a new and futuristic underwater drone that intends to redefine the very nature of underwater
So we've got
warfare.
the stuff that can
Hardy,
do this.
independent, and entirely innovative, this newest DARPA project is one part an evolution into true modern warfare and one part an evolution from the very same creatures that prowl the depths
We've got these things, okay?
combat.
We've got
and then there's
stuff
the question
that can do all
of the
this.
Manta Ray's energy harvesting system. Per Northrop Grumman, the Manta
This is from Northrop Grumman. This is actually the official. Here's the official. This is the official one.
The first of its kind underwater glider is here. Manta Ray is a new type of uncrewed underwater vehicle, or UUV. We successfully tested in open water for the first time.
So we've got these
Manta Ray is
things.
designed with cutting-edge underwater glider technology that has never been applied at this scale. By incorporating numerous buoyancy engines all working together efficiently, Manta Ray can operate for extended periods of time and travel long distances at a variety of depths.
Okay.
It can even anchor to the sea floor and hibernate until needed.
It can anchor to the
Manta Ray will
sea floor
support
and
challenging
hibernate until
undersea
needed.
missions.
Okay, do I need to say any more? We've got these freaking drones. We've got these things that can, that can take out the sea mines that are anchored to the floor. We can go in there and we can blow up their stuff. We have this stuff. So we just haven't unleashed it yet. But why? Just because, again, strategy is important. Like I talk about, this is what I do. I'm a strategist, right? I am a business strategist, a life strategist, all those things. And so if your strategy is flawed, you don't know what you want and why you want it, you're screwed no matter what your assets are, your resources are, okay? You got to have total focus and then using the means available to get the job done, okay? And so right now we have these assets, but I think we're going to quickly see you have a naval admiral, Admiral Cooper, who's in charge of CENTCOM. It's the first time that a surface warfare officer has been in charge of Central Command in I don't know how long. I think it was a genius play to appoint him CENTCOM commander because they're recognizing the primacy of the Navy and the waterways for what we're doing, okay, for our strategy. Whether it's in the Western Hemisphere, you saw another admiral before that, but he was a SEAL admiral. And now you're seeing CENTCOM, though, is huge to have a naval surface warfare admiral in charge. And he knows all of these things. He knows all these assets, undersea warfare, all these things like that. So I'm expecting to see us destroy and reduce the mine capability, destroy and reduce the fast attack craft, suicide drone, ship, boat capability, destroy and reduce their missile cities in Keshim Island and Labak, and then pound the hell out of them using all these assets, limited scale raids. To your point, one of you were asking about direct action missions. I think direct action missions, special operations raids, you got Raiders, you got Green Berets, you got the Navy SEALs, you got everybody over there, right? You got the National Mission Force. National Mission Force will probably be, in my opinion, the ones hunting for the nuclear material, okay? The highest, most important thing, you're going to put our highest tier guys out there doing that. But for your regular direct action raids, you got tons of them. Green Berets, Raiders, SEALs, right? And all of them can mix. And the great thing is, since Admiral McCraven's day at SOCOM, when I was a battalion commander at the Marine Raiders, okay, at MARSOC, Admiral McCraven was in charge. And his big thing for us was he wanted to create a purple force where we were all interchangeable. We spoke the same language. The SEALs would have primacy in the ocean. You know, Raiders had primacy in special reconnaissance. Green Berets had unconventional warfare primacy. But we could all mix and match and do very similar things. Like, you know, so I think especially for foreign internal defense, especially for direct action, especially for partnered operations, things like that. Okay. So you can mix and match in sea base and launch direct action raids from there until the conditions, again, I talked about in your personal strategy, set the conditions for success. The conditions are set, and then look to see a major amphibious assault going on. But the indication, if you guys are wondering, like you clicked on the thumbnail while you're here, the major indication that for us to have a major amphibious assault operation will be when we build this massive force of another 40 ships with 1st Marine Expeditionary Force. We're not talking 10,000. We're not talking 20,000. We're talking like 40,000 Marines off the coast, okay? That's when you'll look to see Bandar Abbas being seized, Keshim Island being seized, all that stuff. In the meantime, you know, all we got to do is open the straits. We don't even need to seize these places. As long as we're not talking about regime change, if we're just talking about seizing the strait, we need to reduce their ability to fight, to destroy things, and to interrupt the traffic, the flow of traffic. Regime change is a whole nother thing to me, okay? So we can do that for sure. And it may not require us to seize Bandar Abbas. It may not. But the definite indicator for us deciding we need to seize Keshim, seize Bandar Abbas, all that will be probably triple the amount of Marines right in the area of the straits before it happens. Okay, that'll be your indicator for sure that that's what's about to happen. All right, let's keep on rolling here. We got a couple more things to look at, and let me jump back in the chat here and see any questions you guys have. Hey, Jason, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. And you know what? Matter of fact, we're going to give you a round of applause right now. Jason's getting a round of applause. He's getting a big Ferocious Optimist, Amphibious channel, round of applause. Best chat on YouTube. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. Support is definitely appreciated. And welcome to the best chat on YouTube. That's you guys. You guys make it up. You guys police it, make it awesome. Everyone's super cool here. And we've had a couple run-ins with some kooks every now and then, but we get rid of them real quick. Boop, gone. Hey, F around and find out. You're out of the party. Not invited anymore. And they might be here watching, screaming into the void. No one can see them. This is the beauty of it. It's so funny. So if you're out there and you're one of the kooks we've launched, hey, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Maybe be nice next time. And be normal. Not be a jerk. And there you go. All right. Let me find what I was going to show you guys here. Okay. Let's listen a little bit more to Ambassador Bolton. And actually, I'm going to jump back in the chat and say hello. Okay. Yeah, Jasmine, thank you. Yeah, Jason, you should join the community, become a member. It'd be awesome. Awesome. Let's see. Okay. Brian Plummer, what's interesting about the China idea is that you're not affecting their oil, but also certain fertilizers that China uses. Yeah, you're right. I believe China is a large producer and user of fertilizer. That's a great point. Never even thought about that. That's a great point. Propaganda says we have a space drone that floats around up there too. They test it like 5 years. It's wild, man. It's wild. You know what's so cool, guys? If you haven't seen my interview with Andy Markoff from Smack Technologies, this is like the guy in Smack Technologies. Okay, 2 Marine Raiders founded it. Okay, both guys I've worked with. They're basically creating the Iron Man technology, Iron Man overlay for technology, and all this stuff to command drone swarms, all this stuff. It's unbelievable. So check out that interview. I haven't seen it yet, and look at SMAC and what they do. You know, this is the company's worth probably a couple $100 million at this point. And, you know, this guy might be like the next Elon Musk. I don't know. We'll see. But check out SMAC Technologies. Check out the interview with Andy Markoff I had last week. But it's wild, the stuff that's out there. It's just wild. It's unbelievable. Cool. Jason, you're green. You're a member officially. Great. Congratulations on joining, Jason. One more round of applause. Jason, a new Ferocious Optimist member here. Awesome. We're going to do one more. I remember there's once somebody in the chat told me, it was like, they wrote to me after and said, or they weren't in the chat. It was, they watched the replay. They said, you do too much of the cheering. It drives me, it makes me crazy. I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean, shut the music off or shut the sound off. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm going to keep on playing the cheering. All right, let's check this out. Let's check this one out. Let's keep on listening to old Ambassador Bolton just for a couple more minutes.
Well, I think at some point we have to make sure that the enriched uranium, the centrifuges, all the sensitive materials and information about the nuclear program don't fall into the wrong hands. At the beginning of this, I thought the time for that to happen would be as the regime collapses.
He's got a good point. He's got a great
point. When the disorder might permit people to get parts of that enriched uranium shipped out of the country. I don't think we're there yet. I think as long as we can keep attacking the program, that for now that's sufficient. I would be more inclined to take steps to make sure that Iran can't continue to finance.
Yeah, he's got a great point. You know,
its effort. They've blockaded the Gulf Arabs in effect. We should do the same for them. That's how to impose more economic pain.
Malcolm Davis is a senior analyst on defense strategy and capability with the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. He joins me now from Canberra, Australia. Thank you so much.
He has a great point. And a couple things he said. He said, I think that the time to seize the uranium material is when the regime is collapsing, when there's chaos and we can go in there and get it. Okay. Otherwise, they're going to really protect it. He has a great point there. You see, he's a regime collapse guy. He's a regime change guy. Now, you know, how else are we going to get that material? How else are we going to get it? Well, it's going to be hard, you know. So one of the goals, open the Strait of Hormuz. Number 2, seize the uranium, enriched uranium material. Then what do? Otherwise, you threaten that we're going to flip your regime. And they know that possibly is not politically sustainable. Probably is not politically sustainable for the United States right now, okay? And why do I think that? Well, let's roll in and let's take a look at why I think this isn't politically sustainable. Well, here's what we had happen. Here's what we had happen the other day, guys. You know, we had something called the No Kings protest the other day. Okay? And so this gives you an idea of half the country does not support this war. I think it's even more. Okay? I think it's even more than half. Okay? Hey, Brian, welcome aboard, man. Great to have you. Welcome aboard, Brian Plummer. We're going to rock and roll. Round of applause for Brian. Woo! Awesome. Great to have you, man. Welcome aboard. We are growing. We're growing. This is awesome. And again, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel out. Like I said, I'm going to try and get bigger and bigger interviews on here and, you know, make sure that we can get bigger and bigger guests and get more and more exposure for the channel. And we're the place where we're going to upgrade, help you to upgrade your life. So let's take a look here. We're going to talk about the No Kings protest. So why do I think it's politically not sustainable? Well, here it is. Here's what's going on. Here's what happened over the weekend. I don't even know who this is. I thought, wait. Did you guys think that was President Trump's voice for a minute? Rewind. I was like, what the hell is he doing there? Hold on. It sounded just like him for a second. But I think that's Bruce Springsteen. Wow. All right. Wait a second, guys. I don't think I'm sharing it. Hold on. I'm going to share it right now. I thought I was sharing something, but I didn't share it. Sorry. You guys know I'm good for one of those once a live stream. At least once per live stream, I'm good for that. Here we go.
And Noah.
This is what I'm trying to show you.
Your strength.
And I thought it was like President Trump. I thought this was President Trump. And it totally cracked me up. I was like, why is President Trump at the No Kings protest? Okay, so this is why I'm saying I don't think it's politically supportable right now. Okay? The No Kings protest went on this weekend. And again, but it's interesting. Doesn't sound like they're talking about the Iran war. They're talking about still ICE and all that stuff. Customs Border Patrol. Let's listen.
And your commitment told us that this is still America. And this reactionary nightmare and these invasions of American cities will not stand.
I'm here because I'm worried about my children and my grandchildren. I'm tired. We're exhausted. This brings me hope. I have so much hope here. And we can change this. Our government is not going to do it. It has to be we the people.
All right, says DC.
What we provide is mockery to the king. And we call this part of the Mock and Awe Tour. And that's really about just taking authoritarianism and making fun of it, which they hate. And that's what we're doing.
All right.
And Noah, not the bully in chief, not the racist in chief, not the wannabe king. No one is above the law. They want us to be.
All right. I'm gonna poll you guys. I'm gonna have a little poll here. We're gonna do a little poll because I can't look at this person anymore. I can't do it. All right. But I'm gonna do a little poll. Now, our last poll is wherever it is. It's dead and gone. Oh, there it is down here. We have, well, are we actually negotiating with Iran right now? 24% yes, 76% no. The no's have it. The nays have it. And that's the answer. All right. And new poll for everybody. I don't know what this no kings thing is. I'm going to say, is President Trump acting like a king? And we'll see. Now, I will tell you, in my historical opinion, I think kings are absolute rulers and do whatever they want. And they murder people and rape people and take everything they want and do all this stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes into a king. You just tell me what you think. Is he acting like a king? Okay. I'd never heard of this thing before. No kings until he was in office. And so I don't know. Maybe they put it together. But let's watch a little bit more here of another thing. Because here's what's disturbing to me. Okay. Yeah, the Diamond Dog, I hear you. As soon as I said that, rape people, I was like, yeah. And we're going to get to Epstein. We're not done with Epstein. Not tonight, but we're going to re-engage on it because there's a lot there. Okay. There's a lot there to talk about. And there is some craziness, obviously. We'll get to it again. But let's look at this. Let's look at this next thing now. Now, here's where I have a problem. Okay. But if you haven't voted in the poll yet, please vote. But let's get to this next little video here. Because I don't understand this personally. But I'll tell you, maybe you guys can make sense of it for me. Okay. Here we go. Communists marching in the No Kings protest.
There's only one Communist revolution!
Communist revolution!
There is only one solution!
There is only one solution! Communist revolution!
Okay, now, I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going to tell you what I think, okay? I think these people are naive fools. That's what I think. Why do I think that? Okay? Because these are the first people that will be thrown to the wolves as useful idiots. These will be useful idiots for any communist regime that rises up. Communism is an idea that has failed, okay? They would tell you that we're still in the historical, dialectical, whatever, the growth of communism, and we're still on the path, okay? But what I'm telling you is that the people like the Lenins and Stalins of the world and the Maos, they use you to get to power, and then you'll be thrown away and discarded because, frankly, most of them are the weak ones, right? And they will use them, abuse them, and kill them like sheep and get rid of them and liquidate them. This is what history has proven. History has proven that, we need social contracts, we need agreements, we need checks and balances, we need all of these things. And the communist system does not work because inherently man is capitalist by nature, right? Competitive capitalist. And as long as you create systems of competition that allow people to rise up and compete, then you can achieve some kind of harmony, right? Where people can pursue their happiness, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, like the Bill of Rights. Okay. But when you think that we're going to give everyone the same thing, except for a certain group, that's the ruling group, the controlling group, they're going to get a little more than the rest of you. It doesn't work. The competition in the marketplace is what creates new things. It creates the new ideas to improve and get better and develop the best thing that people can use, create the most value. Okay? Now, is our system perfect? No. Can we improve? Yes. But these people don't know what they're talking about. Communist revolution. These are fools. These are complete fools, in my opinion. You guys tell me what you think in the chat. But in my opinion, these are complete and utter fools who are calling for a communist revolution. And idiots. Yeah, for sure. They're infiltrated. I agree. Kings don't let people protest. That's it, Paul. 100%. You hit it on the head. You know what? Iran had a king. The supreme leader is basically a king. And they murdered 30,000 people. Okay? Kind of nuts. Yeah, wah. Right, Buff, exactly. Probably PRC infiltrated for sure. Okay? Yeah, I mean, it's just, you can't get beyond the corruption in the communist system. The corruption and the murderous regimes and people, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And that's it. 100% idiots. I agree. So I just want to say that, see what you guys think. But this is also why I don't think the war is going to be supportable at home, okay? And I've said it before, the way that the American people would support a major war is if there were some spectacular attack at home, okay? And that's why you see a lot of people out there saying that look to see a false flag attack happening soon. There'll be a false flag attack somewhere. And then we're going to say, we have to now. Now we have to go to war and we have to go in, okay? I'd like to think that that's not going to happen, a false flag. And this is also why the IRGC was so shrewd and smart and did not have its sleeper cells do any spectaculars or anything crazy. Or we stopped them all. I don't know. I could be wrong too. I could be naive. They may have tried. But they know if they do a spectacular and they kill 1,000 Americans, they do some chemical attack or some wacky thing or a tactical nuke, no, we're going to go in there, we're going to turn the country to glass, and we're going to hunt down every single IRGC member we can find, and we'll spare no expense, right? So, it's the nature of American war. It's the history of, it's America's strategic culture historically has been push. And once you push us too far, Americans go bonkers, go all cowboy on everybody, and they invade and attack and go nuts. Now, that culture could be changing, right? But I will tell you, strategically, why were the Spartans so strong for so long in ancient Greece? They had a warlike culture that could support sacrifice for decades, for centuries, right? If you lose the strategic culture of America first, frankly, not to say the political movement, that's not what I'm saying, but if you lose the strategic culture of my America first sounds a little different, of, you know, serve your country, fight for your country, fight for your community, you know, if you have to die for your country, all those things like that. When you lose that and you start having a weaker strategic culture that gets afraid and recoils at conflict or taking action, they put their head in the sand, like Neville Chamberlain in World War II, tried to appease Hitler, tried to say, you know, oh, just give him what he wants, he'll go away. He didn't go away. You can't deal with bullies by just ignoring them, okay? And quite possibly, many of us are wrong. Many people are wrong about what President Trump's doing. This could be a strategic grand game that prevents us from having a major war with China. It could cause a war with China if we take all their oil away, but it could weaken them enough that would prevent a major war with China by fighting in other ways against them, okay? The energy war. This also could be, you know, something in the grand game that could lead to other benefits. Now, we've already talked about all the detriment that it could lead, and looks like it's leading us to a long and costly war that could kick off. There's still some off-ramps that could change, but there's a lot to consider here. But the big thing to consider as well is that, are we the same country as the United States? And if you're not in America, observe it as an outside observer. Is the United States the same country that fought World War II, that could go in, could sacrifice, was hesitant to get started, but once it got started, it would go all in, all the way. Massive amounts of sacrifice in World War II, terrible losses, okay? But when you're dealing with national survival, and I'm not saying this as like, this is what I'm advocating. I'm saying this is what history teaches you. The Spartans survived, the Athenians, the Persian Empire survived so long until they met the losses from the Greeks, okay? The Germans in World War II, right? The Soviets, Soviet Union fighting against Germany, United States in World War II, all these different things, right? That they levy en masse with the French with Napoleon, okay? Marching across Europe. They were taking massive amounts of casualties and sacrificing really for lots of ideas and you know, the idea of war matters. It matters so much. So I'll get off my soapbox here, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Okay. There's a lot to consider. All right. Yeah, Joe Saunders is so funny. Do you guys know, I've told you this before, I had a PR agent approach me that their client used to be a professional paid protest organizer, I believe for the left, for the Democrats, or not maybe for the Democrats, but for the left wing. And they approached me several times wanting to come on my show when all this stuff was happening, the Minneapolis, Minnesota stuff. So if they recontact me again, I remember you guys all said, yeah, bring them on. I'll bring them on if that stuff gets kicked up again. So, all right, guys. Yeah, Jasmine, I think you're right, unfortunately. And Brian, those of us alive during the breadlines of the Cold War see these fools. Yeah, exactly, Brian. Exactly. They don't know. They're foolish. They think communism means peace, love, and happy. No, it doesn't. It means, yeah, peace, love, and happy. You take the bread, the sheep, while we rule. We start wars, and we make you work the fields, and collectivization, and all these things like that, and liquidations, the gulag. You know, they didn't even read a book about Stalin. They haven't read a book about Mao. They haven't read books about what this really means. They're like, we'll try it again. No, he's just acting, Ben. Unsecure signal. Do you mean, is that your answer from the beginning about is Trump not lost the plot, or is he just acting? Unsecure signal saying that he's acting. Okay, maybe that's an answer from an old question. Yep. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, we covered a lot of ground tonight. And again, so what's in it for all of you, right? I used to do the Sunday mindset reset. We'll do a little reset right now. The mindset reset for all of this is, I want you guys to focus on really knowing what's important for you now. What do you want now? Okay. What's mission critical for you right now? What do you truly want to accomplish over this next quarter? April 1st is about to come up really soon. Okay. And that happens to be my birthday, actually. I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying it. So the first quarter is basically over, right? January, February, March, over. We got April, May, and June. Okay. The next quarter of this year is kicking off. Next calendar year quarter. What are your 3-month goals? Do you have your goals written down? Okay. Because here's the thing. While all this stuff is happening and we're talking about strategy and leadership and decision-making, your assumptions for the decisions you make, hopefully you see that I'm using this not just to talk about the news and not just to talk about world events and things that impact our lives, okay, from our administration, from the U.S. administration, but also about we can do a leadership and decision-making study, a strategy study from analyzing these current decisions being made in a large worldwide global level strategy, okay? Assumptions, strategy, ends, the ends you're seeking, the goals, the ways you're going to do it, the means involved, okay? How can you apply this to your own life? What critical assumptions have you made that you haven't tested yet? Are your critical assumptions solid? And if not, what are the requests for information? What kind of intelligence gathering do you have to do about this assumption you made so that you can know for sure the thing you want to do will work, okay? And like what I always talk with my clients about, my one-on-one clients and my clients that are in my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership, okay? My link is in the bio for both those things. You want to work with me one-on-one, link is in the bio. You want to join my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and community, the link is in the bio there. I'd love to have you, okay? And you'll have access to my inner circle as well too. So, and that's on different platform than my YouTube membership, just so we're clear. But the thing we talk about are the ends, ways, and means and our assumptions, okay? Because sometimes you will make an assumption, but you haven't tested it. Sometimes you have to get intelligence and gather information, ask other people, get new sources, learn more before you fully can rest your strategy on that assumption, okay? So you can see tonight, I believe we made a flawed assumption, the whole Iran thing. An erroneous assumption that the regime would fall. It did not, okay? If you're in business and you believe your widget you're selling is going to sell like hotcakes, what are you basing that on? Do you have a sample size? Did you have a minimal viable product that you tested in the marketplace? What's the feedback from the people that have tested it, okay? But if you go all in on an erroneous assumption, you're going to find that you're going to waste all your capital, all your resources, okay? And that's why we're talking about the situation in Iran, because this very likely could cost us so much blood and treasure and preparedness for any contingency like Taiwan or the Suwalki Gap with Russia or something else crazy happening, okay? So that we're emptying all of our magazines, our strategic ammunition loads, the interceptor missiles, all those things, right? Strategic overreach can happen. Personal overreach can happen. You know, if you're taking loan after loan after loan, you haven't thought about how am I going to replenish my magazines, right? My wallet, my bank account. You know, am I assuming that what is my assumption for me making this decision? Okay. All those things matter. So what I want you to take away from this is number one, control the controllables, know what you can control, know what you can't control, see what you can recruit and get help for. What do you need to get help on? Okay. Identify your goals, clearly state them, make sure the assumptions you make about achieving those goals are sound, okay? And if you need to learn more, gather intelligence. All right, hopefully this helped you guys. Again, like, subscribe, and share. Welcome, new members. Great to have you, new YouTube members. If you have interest in joining my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and community, the link is in my bio for that. And also you have access then to my inner circle once you're a member. That is a weekly group coaching membership it's a small group. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or having me speak at your event, please contact me. There's a one-on-one coaching, free discovery, no fee discovery and strategy session call you can do with me, or you can email me at ben@benpappas.com. Again, ben@benpappas.com to have me speak at your event, work with your group, work with your sales team, whatever like that. I do all that stuff, help you to grow your company, grow your leadership group, all those things. All right, guys, it's been awesome. So great to have you here. And let me see here. I got Buff. Thank you so much, man. That is awesome. I really appreciate you. Guys, never expected, but it's definitely appreciated. Any support you can give me. Thank you so much. And spread the word. Please spread the word. Buff, you're going to get a round of applause before we clock out of here real quick. Round of applause. And for all our new members, too. Thank you, Buff. Appreciate it. That was not a robust enough thing. There you go. That's a better cheer. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And so just remember, like I always say, believe in yourselves. I believe in you. Make yourselves better. Make the world better. Have an amazing, amazing week. I will see you guys all Friday for our crazy time. A lot more comedy if you're new here. a lot of fun and games on Fridays too. Okay. I have a whole, like a 30-minute segment that's just political satire, comic time, funny comedy reactions, stuff like that. It'll be a great time. All right. And go get yours. Let's go. See you all soon. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your support.